Back here at Texas Stadium, Bob Reynolds, along with Don Klein. Both of the teams now have taken their preliminary warm-ups along the sidelines. We'll give you the starting lineup. Both teams have been introduced to this jam-packed capacity crowd of 65,000 here in this new Texas Stadium. Temperature 49 degrees. A beautiful day for football. Expected to go to a high of 60. The sun shining brightly. Not many surprises, no changes really in the offensive and defensive alignment to these two teams. For the Dallas Cowboys, who won the toss and will receive, it'll be Bob Hayes, number 22, and Lance Ulworth, number 19, as the wide receivers. Mike Ditka and Billy Truax alternate as they do at tight end, bringing in the plays from time to time. And so Ditka, however, will get the start here today. Roger Staubach will be the quarterback, number 12. The running backs will be Dwayne Thomas, number 33, and Calvin Hill, number 35. The interior linemen at the tackles, Ted Lesio, number 64 on the left side, Rayfield Wright, number 70 on the right side. Dave Manders, 7-year veteran from Michigan State, will be the center, number 51. And the guards will be John Nyland, number 76, a 6-year veteran from Iowa. And on the right side, Blaine Nye, a 4-year veteran from Stanford. For the San Francisco 49ers, defensively, Tommy Hart, number 53 at left end. Charlie Kruger, number 70 at left tackle. Earl Edwards, number 74 at right tackle. And Cedric Hartman, number 86, the right end. That's the front four. Dave Wilcox, number 64. Frank Nunley, number 57. And Skip Vanderbont, number 52, will be the linebackers. And in the secondary, Jimmy Johnson, number 37, will be in the left corner. Bruce Taylor, although he was injured, is nonetheless going to start. He got a severe ankle sprain, but he's going to start this one at the right cornerback spot and go for the 49ers as long as he can. Rosie Taylor, number 25, will be at the free safety spot. And Mel Phillips, number 32, will be at the strong safety spot. So there you have the lineups of these two here who are battling for the right to go on to the Super Bowl. Following this one, of course, CBS will bring you the action from Miami, where the Dolphins will take on their opposition, the Baltimore Colts. The two teams now are lined up at their respective 40-yard lines. The trumpeter with the national anthem here today is the famed Tommy Lloyd. The color guard comes out. The Dallas Cowboys on the 40-yard line. The San Francisco's on their 40-yard line. And we invite you to join us with this huge crowd here today for the playing of our national anthem, led by trumpeter Tommy Lloyd. Our national anthem. Okay. The Dallas Cowboys won the toss and will receive. Bruce Gossett, who heads the kickoff team for the San Francisco 49ers, talking with the field judge, Tony Scovert, down to the 40-yard line, just about ready to set it up, and we're about ready to get this one underway. Going back in the deep spot for the Dallas Cowboys will be Cliff Harris, number 43, who is on the near side, and Ike Thomas, number 37, who is on the far side. Harris has returned 29 kickoffs and averaged 28.3. Thomas 7 for 43.4. And Bruce Gossett, who does all the kicking for the 49ers, has the ball set up on the 40-yard line. to you, Don Klein, director of CBS Sports in San Francisco. Don?
Thanks, Bob, and here's the kick by Gossett coming down to about the 8-yard line where it is grabbed by Harris up the middle to the 20, the 25, and down to the 27-yard line. Our 52-yard kick run back from the 8 to about the 27, running it back 19 yards. The tackle made on the play on the special team for the San Francisco 49ers. Tackle made by Mel Phillips, who, of course, plays that strong safety spot, and it's 1st and 10 now for Dallas. The Cowboys at their own 27-yard line. Roger Staubach, the quarterback. Wide receivers Lance Allworth and Bob Hayes. The running back, Hillman Thomas. They're operating out of a straight tee at first, then shifting, and Thomas in motion comes Allworth out right. A remaining back is Thomas. He's got the handoff and goes past the 30, up to the 32-yard line. Dwayne Thomas carrying that ball for about 5 yards, hit by Skip Vanderbilt, the right linebacker, now in his 3rd year for the 49ers at the 31. That's a gain of 3 yards on the first ground attack play by the Cowboys on the handoff from Staubach to Thomas. Thomas, of course, #1 touchdown scorer in the National Football League this year in either conference. And he, of course, played such a big role in the Dallas victory of a year ago in this key game, which sent Dallas onto the Super Bowl itself. Out of the I formation they shift now, and Hill is going over as a man in motion. Staubach fakes the Hill, throws left, caught by Thomas at the 26. He's up to the 30, the 35, the 37 for a first down for the Cowboys. Roger Staubach faking to the man in motion, then hit Thomas.
As Coach Landry said prior to the ball game, Don, we see a little something different here. He expected from both sides, and there's the first thing that Dallas has put in different that we have not seen before. They set the flow of the motion to the right, the man in motion to the right. The fake by Staubach went to the right receiver, and then he stopped and threw the screen to the left side. That we hadn't seen before.
Tommy Hart was the man who stopped the play, but not in time to avert the first down against the 49ers. So here comes Dallas now operating at the Cowboy 38-yard line. Out of the eye they move. Hill and Thomas, the running backs behind Staubach. In motion goes Hill out left. The lane remaining back is Thomas with a pitch. He goes to the 40 and up to about the 44-yard line where Earl Edwards knocks him down. Actually, his motion stopped short of the 40-yard line at the 39, gained only a yard on the play. So it'll be 2nd down and 9 for Dallas, the game having just begun here at Texas Stadium. Before, again, a capacity crowd, and the Dallas Cowboys playing before an audience here which has never seen them lose here in their new premises in this beautiful plant here in Irving, just on the suburbs of Dallas. Out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage, Bob Hayes wide left and Allworth out right. Running out of the eye are Hill and Thomas behind Staubach. 49ers in their normal defense with a 2nd down and 9 situation for Staubach. Calls his signals and drops back, runs into Thomas. Thomas has the ball. He's in trouble. He's hit at the 38 and thrown back to the 36. As Thomas, that time as Staubach turned to make his handoff, a cross-up in Thomas himself ran into him, and Dave Wilcox took advantage of the situation to throw him back to the original line of scrimmage, the 38, and that'll make it a 3rd and 10 now for Dallas at the Cowboy 38. In case you just joined us, they started taking the kickoff from the 27. They moved it 11 yards now en route to 1 first down. Roger Staubach, the #1 passer of the National Football League, keeping the Dallas Cowboy attack essentially on the ground so far. #1 status by percentage of interceptions, TDs, and the average yards per attempt, the way they rate the quarterbacks, and Staubach is king in that regard. Slot back formation left as Roger goes back to pass. Cocks his arm, throws one 25 yards. It's caught on the far sideline to a first down, taken that time by Lance Allworth beautifully on the far side of about the 45-yard line.
I'll tell you something, Don, that Mr. Staubach was under some pressure that time, too, and he finally let the thing fly. And Allworth made a fine catch. You can watch the pressure coming in from the left-hand side on Staubach and get a good block there, then fired it wide, and Allward made a great catch of it. They pick up the first down at the 45-yard line of San Francisco. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys.
Bruce Taylor was the man on the tackle, but not in time to avoid the first down again. Shifting into a power eye this time. Power eye right. Thomas to the right side, and Allworth moves in that direction too. The 49ers shift their defense to cover. Here's a handoff to Hill. He's in trouble. He's being chased back into a reverse counter now. At the 50, still hasn't gained anything, and he's hit back at the 47-yard line. Calvin Hill coming with the flow of the play on the shift of the man in motion Allworth. They were lined up into the power eye, and then coming to the right, the blocking did not form for him. The 49ers chased him back into a reverse run, and he just could not go anywhere before Frank Nunley pulled him down, who took over the starting job in the middle linebacker post back in 1969. His enthusiasm, his intelligence in that all-important middle linebacker spot has been a key to the 49er defensive success. It's 2nd down now and 10 to go for Dallas at the 49er 45-yard line. Slot back formation right, double receivers. Hayes now breaks that pattern and goes left. As Staubach is ready, hands it off to Hill. Hill over the left side gains about 3 yards before he's knocked down short of the 49er 42-yard line where Frank Nunley hit him.
Coach Landry said that his game plan would be here today to establish his running game, and of course the big problem with San Francisco is to slow that running game down, because that is something that it didn't do last season and lost as a result of it. But as you mentioned, they have to be concerned with the fact that Roger Staubach not only is a good runner and runs his team very well, but he's a fine passer as well. And an important factor when you're playing Dallas, as all coaches say, is not to give them ball control.
Here again, the Cowboys line of scrimmage, moving from their 29 to the 49er 42-yard line now. Slot back right is Hayes, Allworth spread wide to the right. In fact, Truax is off the left end split too. Staubach throwing, and it is incomplete. Intended for Allworth on a cutback pattern through the middle. Also Billy Truax coming across from his tight end spot. And Dallas at the 42-yard line is forced into a kicking situation. Their first drive going from the 29 to the 49er 42-yard line. So in to kick with Jimmy Johnson going back. Going back in a receiving formation for the 49ers now is Mike Simpson. They're going back into to the 48-yard line where Mike Clark attempting this field goal. The kick on its way, and it's going to be short, and Simpson is back to take it at the 2-yard line, comes to the 10, goes through the middle to the 17-yard line, and down he goes at the 17. That kick from the 48-yard line on the part of Mike Clark, who had kicked 13 out of 25. His longest kick this year had been, incidentally, 48 yards, and that's the distance he failed to negotiate that time.
I think it's interesting, Don, that this will be the first time that the fans will ever see both teams using the same 4-3 defense 100% of the time. We're getting a timeout now.
San Francisco head coach Dick Nolan was a former member of the Dallas coaching staff, and Cowboys coach Tom Landry was asked if he would be forced to make any game changes because of this.
I think you have to change some because he does have a lot of knowledge. He coached us here for a number of years. He knows our personnel, and he knows our system well. And naturally, if you execute good, it doesn't make a lot of difference what anybody does, but we will change some. When you're working against a passer of Brody's background and with receivers like Washington, Kowalik, Witcher, and a few of those, I think you have to figure that our pass defense is going to be under a lot of pressure. I feel like we must control their passing game in order to win the game. Offensively, we must score. I think it'll be a scoring game because I think you've got two fine offenses working against each other as well as two good defenses. So I believe it'll be a seesaw affair if it's like I expect it to be.
Tom Landry, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, commenting on today's big battle with the San Francisco 49ers. Here again at Irving Stadium is Don Klein.
So the 49ers now have the ball for the first time this afternoon, and starting from their own 17-yard line as John Brody takes position. Split backs, Washington and Willard in behind him. In motion comes Gene Washington out to the left side. Witcher spread wide right. The handoff going to Vic Washington. Comes to 15, cuts back in, goes to the 20, and to the 21-yard line. A gain of about 3 or 4 yards on the first running play of the game for Vic Washington, led on the interference by Ken Willard. There's the man who's played such a prominent role in the 49er attack this year, Vic Washington, 3 years in Canadian football, San Francisco's number 2 rusher of the season, and has added a new dimension to the 49er attack, giving John Brody's passing game much more effectiveness. Any quarterback wants to keep that secondary guessing. It makes his passing game all the more effective, of course. Here's Washington wide left, Witcher right on a short split. Setbacks are in behind Brody. The handoff goes to Vic Washington through a hole from 25 to 30 to the 33-yard line. As Vic Washington got a block from Randy Feisler up front and Forrest Blue, who will be in the Pro Bowl this year for his great season in 1971.
Beautiful trap play, Don. They just opened the hole for him, and he went right up the middle.
First down for the 49ers, starting the drive from their 17, and they've now gone to their 33, a distance of 16 yards. The first Dallas attack netted them 31 and bogged down at the 42, where Mike Clark's 48-yard field goal attempt was short. Here's San Francisco on the attack again. Same formation. Washington left, Witcher right. The handoff is fake. Brody back to pass. Shoots one out 25 yards, and it is incomplete, almost intercepted. Witcher, the receiver, double team. Herb Adderley got a hand up on it, and then Cliff Harris was the man coming in underneath and almost picked it off. So Brody, going to the air for the first time, finds his receiver, double teamed up there, Dick Witcher, the former UCLA star, now in his 6th season with the 49ers. Dick caught 17 passes this year, including 3 touchdown efforts. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the 49ers at the San Francisco 33-yard line. Witcher goes right. Gene Washington comes out left. Brody has Vic Washington and Ken Willard set behind him. Dallas putting 5 men now up front, plugging in with a linebacker. Leroy Jordan closing up the middle, through which Washington tries to move, and he's hit at the 34-yard line. Vic Washington. Leroy Jordan, as I mentioned, had just stepped into the hole in the middle to plug up that spot in behind Forrest Blue, who threw that key block a moment ago. And Jordan, who's a very aggressive fellow, who makes up for his rather small size, where linebackers go at 221, named the outstanding lineman in the country in his senior year at Alabama several years ago. And what a whale of a job he's done for the Cowboys this year again. It's now 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 for Brody, who has to pass and goes back, cocks his arm, and throws it. It is incomplete. Intended for Witcher at the 45-yard line for Herb Adderley. A tight defender was there to see that Witcher would not complete and give the 49ers a first down.
Brody got shaken up pretty good on that play. He was a little slow getting up. They had some pressure on him that time. He has been sacked, only 11 times all season long. And one of the reasons for that is not only the fine job that he gets from his blockers, but the fact that he has such a quick release. John is walking off a little slowly, talking to the officials, thinking that he got a pretty good lick. So Steve Spurrier on the kick situation, 4th down and 8, is in there.
Spurrier now kicking in what Dick Nolan describes as a pressure situation in place of Jim McCann. Spurrier has kicked only twice, averaging 38 yards this year. He's waiting, has the ball, and gets his kick away. Off to the right side. There'll be no return on it. 49ers covering the ball at the 30-yard line. And there, the Dallas Cowboys will be in operation.
I don't think, Don, that he wanted to kick that with the Bobby Hayes, who was back there in one of the deep spots, because he can really fly. It actually looked like he didn't put the real good foot to it and hoped he'd get a good roll, and he did. So we're getting a timeout with the ball down on the 30-yard line.
Actually, that's a variation right there, Bob, that he has had Hayes back there in that receiving formation, but generally, of course, his punt returners are Cliff Harris and Charlie Waters, but I guess he wants that speed if he can take advantage of it.
49er coach Dick Nolan was asked how the Cowboys differ from the team that beat his club in last year's NFC Championship game.
They differ in the way that now they've got Hill and Thomas in the backfield. When they played last year, they had Garrison and Thomas, and also another thing is that they've got Staubach in there, who right now has done a great job for them. And he's not only, of course, a fine thrower as far as that goes, but he can run with that football if he has to.
Now let's get back to the action at Cowboy Stadium down in Texas.
That kick of Spurrier's carried 35 yards and took some yardage away in the exchange of the ball from the Cowboys, who you might recall had taken that ball to the 49 or 42-yard line, from which point they were into a 4th down and field goal situation. And now they have to start this new drive from their 30.
Both teams feeling one another out here in the early going in this big one, because all the marbles are on the line here. The losers' season is over, and to the winners, a chance at the $15,000 in the Super Bowl.
And now Staubach is ready. He comes out of the eye, puts the slot back right, and in motion comes Hill out to the right side. Power to that side, and they go through the middle with Thomas, as Dwayne still can't find the hole, and he's down to the 31-yard line. Dwayne has that quick shift lateral movement. Tremendous lateral sight to find the holes, but there just was not one, and Charlie Kruger was the man giving him his most trouble. Charlie Kruger, hailing from down this way, of course, former great at Texas A&M 13 years ago when he was the #1 pick for the 49ers in the 58 draft. It'll be 2nd and 10 now for Dallas. A yard, if anything, a gain of about a yard for Thomas. 2nd down and 9 to go for Dallas. Cowboys at line of scrimmage. Thomas and Hill, both in setbacks, and Allworth moves out right to balance the spread. Here's Staubach going back to pass, throws 115 yards over the head of Bob Hayes on the far sideline. Hayes, the intended receiver, who caught 35 this year, and going on an out pattern, but it was incomplete. So that'll make it 3rd down and 9 to go. We'd like to welcome to our listening audience today, while sending our best wishes to the men and women listening around the world through the facilities of the American Forces Radio Network, members of our armed forces, a special Happy New Year to those serving in Vietnam, and the hope, of course, that you soon will be joining us personally here on the American sports scene on your eventual return home. And we're glad to have listeners around the world in this broadcast on CBS Radio from Texas Stadium. It's now 3rd down and 9 to go. Normal Dallas spread as Staubach drops back on 3rd and long yardage, throwing 25 yards downfield, almost intercepted by Dave Wilcox. He had more of a shot at it than Mike Ditka, the primary receiver, the tight end. And the 49er defense contains everything. Dallas can throw at it, and now we'll take over the ball again, and Dallas will be kicking from a line of scrimmage at the 31. They started at the 30, got only 1 yard in the 2nd possession they've had today.
We're talking about the defense of these two teams being virtually the same. The 49er coach Dick Nolan, of course, as you recall, is a former Landry aide. San Francisco will blitz much more than Dallas will, say about 25% of the times, and Dallas is about 5%. So you're seeing a lot of defense that's very similar here today.
Back to kick for the first time, Ron Whitby gets his boot away. Simpson and Fuller, the deep men. Fair catch called for at the 34-yard line, that time by Mike Simpson. And there, the 49ers will take possession. They, as a matter of fact, will start this drive from exactly the 35-yard line, the point at which their last drive stopped after going 18 yards, from which Steve Spurrier punted the first time San Francisco had the ball. So it's 1st and 10, 49ers at the San Francisco 35. There is no score in this ball game. He's calling his signals, John Brody, from the normal 49er spread. John has the ball, hands it off to Washington, trying to turn, gets away, breaks the tackle at the 40 and down to the 41-yard line. And gains about 6 yards on the play before Cliff Harris, coming up from the strong safety spot, made the stop on the play. Here's a fellow who's been a starter with the Dallas Cowboys since he broke into the lineup in his first season last year, signing on as a free agent. His 2nd year with Dallas, and he stopped Vic Washington that time. As Brody is calling Washington almost exclusively of Ken Willard so far today. 41-yard line, 2nd and 4, 49ers. As John goes back, quick pass to the right sideline intended for Gene Washington, overthrowing him on a quick out pattern. Gene had just gone to where he would have had a first down. Mel Renfro, another Pro Bowl performer this year coming up, 3 times All-Pro from Oregon, was the man defending against the reception by Gene Washington. It'll be 3rd down and 4 to go for the 49ers, having advanced now from their 35. If you've just joined us, Dallas went 31 yards in his first drive and only won the second time they had the pigskin. This is the second time the 49ers have had the ball. They went 18 yards the first time before forced to kick. Defense is prevailing here at the moment. 5:11 left to go in a scoreless first quarter. Super Bowl at stake. Here's Brody, short drop back, pulls out, and it's incomplete. John had Ken Willard coming out of the backfield, and he overthrew him, stepping back shortly, and that brings up 4th down, and again, Steve Spurrier is coming in to kick.
Brody not too happy with the way he threw that one. He kind of put it up for grab. Fortunately, it was a little bit too long for Willard. And so Spurrier back to kick for the 2nd time now. Moved it from about his own 31.
Back to receive now, Cliff Harris. Bob Hayes is the front man, Cliff Harris the deep man. And here's the kick on its way from Spurrier. Coming downfield to the 21-yard line. A fair catch called for by Harris. He's hit as he caught it. The crowd does it like that. That That kick was good for about 38 yards. Forrest Blue was the man who came in on top at the about the 21-yard line. So Dallas now has been moving in reverse where field position is concerned. The first time they got the ball at the 27, the second time at the 30, and this third trip out, they will start from their own 21-yard line. San Francisco continues to keep Dallas back in its own territory, with the one exception when their first drive garnered the 42-yard line before it bogged down.
San Francisco 49ers middle linebacker Frank Nunnally, one of the best, has had a great year for San Francisco. He's come up with a lot of key play calling at the line. It's his job, and he discusses it as the defensive signal caller in how he attempts to stop the Dallas offense today.
Being the defensive signal caller, I think the most important thing for me to do today is that I have to maintain my poise under all the situations that are going to be coming up. I mean, this is a real pressure game, and the most important thing for me is to keep our defensive line coordinated and to make sure that I'm calling the right audibles at the right time. We have to control their running game and try to call pass audibles in key situations so that we can get the turnovers. I think that's going to be the big difference in who wins the game are the breaks.
That's not been any. Here's Dallas now to the line of scrimmage. They shift Hill back in behind Thomas, running out of an eye. In motion comes Allworth at the right side. He's in rather tight. Here's the handoff given to Thomas, and again he can't find the hole, but does get through for about 2 or 3 yards before Dave Wilcox closes it up on him.
It's unusual, Don, to see Thomas running like that. It actually looks as though he's trying to find a hole instead of running where the play was evolved to be. That 49er defense plugging it up, that front four doing a great job of Hart and Cougar, Edwards, and Hartman up there, and Thomas is just having to look for some place to run.
Of course, last year this Dallas team ran over Cedric Hartman a lot, Bob, on that right side with Bruce Taylor. New men, and this year it is rough going on that side. Here's a pitch back to Hill, getting a block by Thomas up to the 25 to 27-yard line. He's after gaining about 2 yards. So that'll make it third down, and about 5 to go for the Cowboys. Let's pause now, 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves, this being the CBS Radio Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
The Cowboys making their 6th consecutive trip to the NFL playoffs, a record unmatched in the league's history. In fact, counting a playoff bowl appearance back in 1965, Dallas is in his 7th straight year of postseason play. And the 49ers blocking their entry to a 2nd Super Bowl bid and hoping to here today to make the trip themselves. There goes Hayes in motion left, Allworth split out right. Strawback drops straight back to throw a pass. Gets his pass away, and incomplete at 32, and a beautiful defensive effort that time on the part of Mel Phillips, coming up from his strong safety spot, hitting Mike Ditka. Phillips will key, of course, from that strong safety on the tight end, and he had his man in perfection that time. 4th down, and about 3 to go, and for the second time, Ron Whitby, the number 3 kicker of the National Football Conference, is called on to punt and get the ball out of here. 4th and 4. And Dallas, for the 3rd time today, punting twice, field goal attempt once. And back to receiver Mike Simpson and Johnny Fuller for the 49ers, stationed at about the 35. Here's the kick by Whitby, downfield. It's coming down this time to Fuller. He's got it, up to the 33, the 34, and down he goes. As Dallas had moved that ball from their 21 up to about the 27-yard line of scrimmage, and the kick carrying down about 41 yards, and Fuller taking it back to the 34. San Francisco starting its 3rd drive, previously from the 17, the 2nd trip from the 35, and now from their 34-yard line. Both teams in possession 3 times, 3 minutes to play in the first quarter, and no scores yet. Brody moving Washington in motion. Dallas counters with Green coming over to cover. The handoff is given to Washington again through the middle and going nowhere. Plowed up by Jethro Pugh and Bob Lilly up front.
I'll tell you one thing, Don, both of those defensive lines up front have made a few minor changes in keying. I'll tell you that because both of these ball clubs are having difficulty finding any running room at all. And we've got a defensive battle here with 2 minutes and 35 seconds of playing time remaining in the first period. No score.
Bob Lilly, what a tremendous ball player. Dallas coach Tom Landry says he's something a little bit more than great. Nobody better than Lilly. And, of course, he's plugging up that right tackle spot defensively in the front four of the Cowboys, who have 5 men up front now. And Jordan ready to plunge if he's called that. Here's the Brody back throwing 30 yards downfield to Witcher, incomplete. Threw on his turning side. Herb Adderley was on the inside, and Witcher breaking out, and the pass was just a little bit to the right of Dick. On a deep pattern, thrown about 30 yards by John Brody, and that'll make it now 3rd down and 8 to go. As it's been the defense telling the story of this ball game, coming into the contest. 49ers number 4 in the conference, Dallas number 2. Vikings, of course, were number 1 overall defensively. Dallas the best team against the rush in the league, but has had trouble in the secondary defending the pass. Number 9 in that regard. San Francisco's defense a little more consistent. Number 5 against the rush, number 3 against the pass. Here's Brody, 3rd and long. Has to pass, goes back. Has good time. Throws to Witcher, completed the 40. Hasn't got the yardage as he's down at the 42-yard line. Herb Adderley was the man who got him at the 42. So it'll be Dallas regaining possession with 1 minute and 53 seconds to go. 4th down and 2 to go. And again, Steve Spurrier comes in to kick for the 3rd time now. San Francisco going 18 yards, 6 yards, and 8 yards on its 3 drives. Back to kick, Steve Spurrier. Back to receive are Bob Hayes, along with Cliff Harris. Waiting for the snap is Spurrier. Line of scrimmage, the 42. And here's the kick on its way. A high spiral. Chasing Harris back to the 14. He's got it there. Gets between 2 men. Hit by another at the 15. And runs that kick back. Runs that kick back actually only a yard. He took it there at about the 14-yard line. A fine 44-yard kick by Steve Spurrier. And Forrest Blue is the man who got him around the ankles and pulled him down. 1 minute and 13 seconds left to go. A little earlier, Lady Bird and Lyndon Johnson introduced the huge crowd here at Texas Stadium across the way.
Got them off the ranch.
Presidents and ex-presidents, they're great football fans, aren't they, Bob?
Got them off the ranch. Come up to see the game today.
Here again, ready are the Cowboys, trying to put something together in their 4th drive of the day. Staubach is ready. Slot back formation right, gives to Hill. Plunging through the middle, gets about 2 or 3 yards before he falls in the grasp of Earl Edwards in his 3rd year for the 49ers. Fellow who's played defensive end, defensive tackle, tight end as a rookie. One of 8 defensive linemen who shared time in 1970, and it's been the gelling of that front 4 of Tommy Hart, Charlie Kruger, Earl Edwards, and Cedric Hartman, which has played such a prominent role in the 49er defensive picture this year. We have only 17 seconds to go, and the scoreless first quarter is Bob Hayes slots to the right side and a wide spread of Lance Allworth. Setbacks now behind Staubach. In motion goes Hayes out to the left side. As Staubach is ready, drops out to the left side. Gets his pass too far over the head of Bob Hayes on the far sideline. As Bruce Taylor and Rosie Taylor were over there to defend against the pass which was overthrown. So that will make it now a 3rd down for Dallas. At their own 18-yard line, 3rd and about 7 to go as we near the final second now of the first quarter.
Neither quarterback, Don, is having much luck out there. Brody is 1 out of 5, I believe. 1 out of 6, and Roger is only 2 out of 23, or 2 out of 7, rather, for 23 yards. They're a bit tight, both of them.
Dallas has moved to the San Francisco 42 to the 31 and the 27 in their 3 drives. The 49ers have not been past their 42. Here's Staubach coming out of the pocket, chased from behind. He's on a run at the 25 to the 28-yard line, and Staubach has a first down. I don't know whether you can call that a broken play, Bob, or not, but he looked as though he wanted to throw that ball, and Jimmy Johnson finally nailed him at the 29-yard line as we got the end of the first quarter here. With the score, Dallas nothing and San Francisco nothing.
Well, San Francisco knows it has to do one thing in this game this afternoon, and thus far they've done it pretty well, except for that quick run by Staubach. They have to contain this great Dallas offense, and the way to do it, of course, is to keep the ball as long as they can and keep it away from this awesome offense of the Cowboys. The veteran quarterback, John Brody, comments on how he plans to do this.
Well, really, there aren't any
secrets. We've got to find a way to put a lot of points on the board because Dallas has had great success offensively this year, and everybody knows what their defense is like. So we feel that the less time they have the ball, the better opportunity we have to win, of course, but we have to get that ball going and moving so they can't have it too long. And, if we're successful, I think we'll get it.
49er quarterback John Brody, who's been around 15 years in the pros, and he knows how to read defenses very easily, and don't be surprised if he calls a lot of audibles at the line of scrimmage today. This ballgame thus far seems to be a feeling out process by both teams of what they can and cannot do. Now let's get back to the ballpark.
Starting the second quarter between Dallas and San Francisco here at Texas Stadium in the suburbs of Dallas, Texas. The National Football Conference Championship. To the winner goes a Super Bowl bid berth against either Miami or Baltimore. And ready to call the play-by-play in the second and the third quarters today, it's my pleasure to again call on Bob Reynolds. Throughout the Midwest, known for many years as the voice of the Detroit Lions for, well, Bob, I guess it's been a couple of decades anyway, now covering his sixth playoff game, including Super Bowls. And, well, Bob, maybe you can get a score for somebody here.
I don't know. You maybe thought I was so old I had a little difficulty getting up here in the booth. As we start play here in the second quarter, we've got a scoreless ball game. Dallas's ball, first down and 10 of their own 29-yard line. Staubach is the quarterback. Thomas and Hill. Now they shift into pro set. One wide receiver. That's Hayes to the left. Staubach calling the signals. Grabs the ball. Hands it off this time to Calvin Hill. Hill gets it up to about the 32. Hit there by Charlie Kruger, the veteran left tackle, who, as Don mentioned, is very familiar in these parts down here. Played his college ball at Texas A&M. To see where they mark the ball at the 32. Gain of 3, second down and 7 to go. Ball at the 32-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. No score. Beautiful day for football here, and we're seeing a great defensive battle here this first half. Neither quarterback on passing-wise. Both defenses doing a superb job. All set. Staubach the quarterback. Just shifts him into the far right left, and in motion goes Lance Allworth. A broken play. Staubach rolling out to his right. Doesn't know where to go. He's still looking. It was supposed to be a running play, or rather a passing play, and he had no place to go, and he had to keep the ball himself and finally got out of trouble up to the 35. Actually picked up 3 yards on the play, and finally chasing him and bringing him down, Skip Vanderbunt, the right linebacker, number 52 from Oregon State. I would say, Don, that the Dallas offense here today so far in this first half has shown signs of a little bit of indecision on occasion.
Well, I think, again, comparing it to last year at this time, Bob, they were able to run. And, of course, it set up in that particular game Craig Morton, who was passing, and it gave them a balanced attack. And the 49ers are taking away their running game, and that's hurting.
All right, we've got Walt Garrison, number 32, in there for Thomas now in that backfield for Dallas. Prost, 2 wide receivers to the outside. Hayes in the slot. Back goes Roger to pass. Stands in the pocket, throws it down there, incomplete at the 37-yard line. Intended for Calvin Hill. And Dave Wilcox, the linebacker on the left side, was right where he should have been. And so it would bring up a kick situation for Dallas. And Ron Whitby, who's been under some pressure in the first quarter when he was kicking. The 49ers in there giving some pressure to him. Will find Doug Cunningham back in one of the deep spots along with Johnny Fuller. They're back now. As Ron Whitby gets set to kick, he'll boot this from around his own 24-yard line. It is 4th down and about 4 to go. Not much pressure this time to get the dandy away. Grabbed there at the 25-yard line by Fuller, and a flag goes down. And Fuller brings it up to about the 28-yard line. On a flag thrown down there around the 24-yard line. That kick by Whitby was about 36 yards. And Johnny Fuller from Lamar Tech grabbed the ball at the 20, dropped back about a yard or so, and started upfield. The injured man on the field is Charlie Waters for the Dallas Cowboys, number 41 from Clemson, and he's being helped off to the sideline. The penalty is against the San Francisco 49ers.
That's the first penalty we've had today, Bob.
Yes, it is. And there's a clip on it. throws the ball halfway back to the goal line and puts it at the 12-yard line, where it'll be San Francisco's ball now. First down and 10 at their own 12-yard line. Brody, the quarterback, Ken Willard and Dick Washington, the running back. Dick Wisher, number 88, and Gene Washington, number 18, the wide receivers. Ted Pollock, tight end, number 82. No score. Early here in the second period from Texas Stadium in the suburbs of Dallas. The National Football Conference Championship game. First down and 10 for the 49ers now. They have Wisher wide to the left, Washington wide to the right. Power step to the right side of the backfield for Brody, who looks over the defense, which has been tough. Takes his time. No flag. The ball handed off in there this time to Washington. Washington gets it up to about the 14-yard line. That's all. And making the tackle over there was Dave Edwards, the left linebacker. Thought for a minute there, Don, we'd get a flag on that play. It'll leave a little bit of motion offensively and defensively, too. Ball at the 14. Gain of 2, second down and 8 to go. San Francisco back at their own 14-yard line. No score in this ball game. Second down and 8. Wisher comes out as a flanker wide to the right. Willard is in the backfield along with Washington. Brody taking his time, grabs the ball, fakes to Willard, drops back to the 5, throws the screen, intercepted at the 9-yard line. Intercepted by George Andrews at about the 9-yard line. And Brody threw that one right into the hands of George Andrews. And Andrews grabbed it around the 9-yard line and was finally hauled down at the 2. And there is the first big break of the afternoon. And it goes to the Dallas Cowboys. John Brody himself had to pull Andrews down on that one. And so it is first down and goal to go now for the Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 2-yard line. Willie Truax now coming in at tight end. He and Mike Ditka alternate bringing in the plays. There's the first real breakdown.
I don't think John saw Andrew coming across on that tight end situation.
All set to go. Roger Staubach, the quarterback now. Grabs the ball, gives it in there to Calvin Hill. Thomas it is, and he gets it down to about the 1-yard line, stacked up there by the middle of that San Francisco defense. Ball up the 1-yard line. Bill Belk is in there now, defensively, number 72 for the 49ers. As they put in another big lineman to take out a linebacker. The ball is at the 1-yard line. Take out a cornerback, rather. Rosie Taylor comes out of there. So it is second down and goal to go. At the 1-yard line. Calvin Hill at the top of the eye. Now they move into a pro set with Thomas and Hill. Staubach with the ball. Gives it to Calvin, and he dives in for the score. Calvin Hill gets the touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys as they move 9 yards in 3 plays to take advantage of the first turnover. That's what we were talking about, Don. Both of the coaches under the impression that turnovers are going to have a big factor in this ball game. The Cowboys got the break, the first one, and they take it in to score and lead here 6-0. Now we get the try for the extra point. It'll be Mike Clark, who is perfect, 47 out of 47. He will attempt the extra point here. Early in the second quarter, the kick is up, but the kick is good. The score now is Dallas 7, San Francisco 49ers nothing.
Dallas Cowboys veteran linebacker Leroy Jordan, one of the biggest and best in the league, discusses what his team's defense must do to stop the 49er attack today.
Well, I think the biggest problem with our defensive team this week is Dick Washington and Ken Willard. We've got to stop their running game, and we hope if we can stop their running game, we'll make Brody throw the ball from 35 to 40 times, as we did last year. And I feel like if we can make him throw the ball that many times, we can come up with 2 or 3 interceptions. And if we do this, I think we'll win the game.
And he's right so far. Andre picking off that pass. Brody seems to be just a little on the tight side. There's been a lot of mix-up in the San Francisco backfield. And John at the line of scrimmage seems to be calling a few audibles. And on one play, it looked obvious to everyone, including the announcers at the game, Reynolds and Klein, that there was some motion on Brody's part even before the ball was snapped. So John may be having a little trouble adjusting, and Dallas is shifting its defenses very well, and they took advantage of that one. It seemed as though Brody had picked out Andre perfectly and threw the ball right to him. Of course, that wasn't what it was intended, but that's the way it looked. A tough break for San Francisco.
Back into the action here now is the Dallas Cowboys. Lead it 7-0 on a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Calvin Hill after the interception of George Andre. And here's the boot by Clark. Cunningham and Washington deep. The ball is going down to the 2-yard line. Taken there by Washington. Up to the 10. Up to the 15. Makes a good move to the outside. Cuts back in. Gets up over the 20. Finally dropped at the 22-yard line. D.D. Lewis in there on the specialty team to make the stop that time on Washington.
Bob, you know that turnover, that interception has to bother Dick Nolan. Obviously it does, but the fact that this plagued the 49ers in the early season, they had a deficit of minus 15 in turnovers against takeovers during the season. But in the last 4 games, they'd lost the ball only 4 times, and here's the key turning point of the early game.
Makes a difference, indeed. Witcher wide to the right. Washington wide to the left. Close set of the backfield for Brody. Brody with the ball. Hands it off to Willard. Willard trying to find some running room right up the middle. Ran smack dab into Bob Lilly, who was the number 1 man in there. Number 74 from TCU, an 11-year veteran. Jethro Pugh from Elizabeth City State also in there on the play. But that's the 25-yard line, a gain of 2, second down and 8 to go. Second and 8 for the San Francisco 49ers at their own 25-yard line. They trail the ball game 7-0. We have 10 minutes and 29 seconds of playing time remaining here in the first half. Witcher wide to the left. Washington out wide to the right. Willard and Dick Washington are the setbacks, and Brody fakes, hands the ball off. Now keeps it himself, rather. Good fake, and he's caught for the loss. That time, Don, the Dallas Cowboys were blitzing. One of the few times that they do. Bob Lilly fired through there. Good fake on the part of Brody to Willard. And Brody dropped back as Bob Lilly was in there to drop him for a loss back at the 19-yard line, a loss of 6. And it brings up a 3rd down and 14 now for the San Francisco 49ers. And that break on the turnover, Don, seemed to have sparked the Dallas Cowboys just a little bit.
So often it'll work that way. The offense gets the spark from the defense and vice versa. And certainly the Cowboys have the momentum.
Butcher is wide to the right. Washington wide to the left as Brody looks over the defense. This crowd making a lot of noise here. 65,000 of the ball handed off to Washington. Washington's got 1 blocker in front of him. Cuts, turns the corner, makes it up over the 25 and drops at the 26. Making the stop there, Dave Edwards. Vic Washington, who going into this ball game during the regular season at least, had picked up 811 yards and 191 carries and had scored 3 touchdowns and average 4.2 yards every time he touched the football. The ball at the 26-yard line, a gain of 7. It brings up a 4th down and 7 in a kick situation for the 49ers, who send Steve Spurrier in to do the booty. Bob Hayes dropping back along with Cliff Harris for the Dallas Cowboys. We have 9 minutes and 9 seconds of playing time remaining as Spurrier waits. He's been under pressure not too much today from his punts and gets a good one away. And Hayes signals for a fair catch, drops back a pace or 2 and catches it at the 33 or 4. So the Cowboys will put it in play 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line.
Bob, here's the story of this ball game in case our listeners just might have tuned in. San Francisco drives have gone 18 yards the first time, and then listen to this. The last 4 times they've had the ball, 6 yards, 8 yards, 2 yards, and 4 yards. Steve Spurrier has had to punt 4 out of the 5 occasions of possession, and of course, the intercepted pass. John Brody had 24 passes intercepted this year. That's the highest total of the NFC record book for 1971, and he wanted to avoid it today, but he's throwing against the secondary that had intercepted 25 times this year, the Dallas secondary, intercepting 25 times compared to only 14 to give you some measurement, some relativity of the success in that secondary. And so, of course, that's something that John Brody will have to be careful of the rest of the afternoon. Dallas having taken the ball away from its opposition plus 6 times compared to their own turnovers this year. And as a matter of fact, last week against Minnesota, when they won that ball game to gain possession of the playoff game itself here, they played a perfect ball game, did not fumble, did not have a pass intercepted. And that's the story of the game so far.
Indeed it is. As a matter of fact, San Francisco, talking about the strong defense they played, too, is 0 for 4 on 3rd down situations. That Dallas defense doing a great job. Dallas, on the other hand, has been able to convert 2 out of 5 third down situations. And the 49ers here with 8 minutes and 56 seconds to play in the first half and trailing 7-0 have had 1 first down in this first half. It is 1st and 10, Dallas, at their own 34-yard line. Roger Staubach is the quarterback. Now they shift into an I formation. Thomas and Hill are the running backs. In motion goes Lance Allworth to the right. Ball is pitched back to Calvin Hill, gets one block, turns the corner up over the 35 to the 36-yard line, and Mel Phillips comes up from the strong safety spot to bring him down at the 36. Gain of 2, second down and 8 to go. Dallas 7. San Francisco nothing. In case you joined us late, we have 8:38 remaining here in the first half. The Cowboys got the first break. An interception of John Brody's pass by George Andre, while the 49ers were deep in their own territory at about the 9-yard line. Brody himself had to make the tackle on Andre at the 2, and 3 plays later, Calvin Hill carried it in for the score. Allworth is out wide to the right. Now Hayes moves into the slot to the left, rather, and now Hayes goes in motion to the right side on the far side. Roger fakes it, throws a little screen to Calvin Hill. Calvin Hill's got one blocker in front of him. The flag goes down, however, as Hill is finally out of bounds at the 48-yard line of the 49ers. But there was a flag thrown, as we mentioned, as the play unfolded. Dave Wilcox finally forcing Hill out of bounds.
Bob, whether the play counts or not, Tom Landry's style of offense was working to perfection there. He wants to keep changing his strength to complicate the defensive problem. He had Hayes and taking the flow of the play out to the 49er left. And then, of course, as you saw, he ran his own play to the left. It forces the defense to try to stay simple, and he hoped, as far as Staubach's passing, to thereby isolate Bob Hayes on the weakest back on a man-man situation defensively. In this particular case, if he can keep that defense simple, as far as the 49ers are concerned, that's how he hopes to beat you. And in that case, the 49ers were complicating the situation, trying to cover against the flow of the play, going to the right for Dallas. And, of course, he ran the play out to the left, and Hill has some yardage, negated by the penalty, of course.
Penalty against the Dallas Cowboys, the first one against them, to set the ball back at the 21-yard line, where it is now second down and 23 to go. Allworth is wide to the left. In motion to the right now goes Bob Hayes. Staubach with the ball rolling out a little bit to the right. Play action pass. He can't find anybody to throw it to. Keeps it himself. All down at the 25-yard line by Cedric Hartman, the defensive right end, at the 25. Gain of only 4 on the play. So it is third down and 19 now for Dallas. That was the first penalty against the Dallas Cowboys, just preceding this play. San Francisco's had 1 penalty. That was a clip. So it's been remarkably free of penalties here with 7 minutes and 34 seconds to play from the Texas Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Actually, in the suburbs from Irving, Texas. Mike Ditka. Hayes now is in the slot to the left side, along with Allworth, who's out wide as a flanker to the left. And back goes Staubach to throw. The rush is on. Now he gets plenty of time. Fires it down here. And it is put beautifully by Billy Truax at the 46-yard line. And down he goes immediately. Jimmy Johnson covering on the play. But Truax, who is 6'5", can really go up after him. And he went up in the air and made a great catch to the 46-yard line. Good for 21 yards. And they first down, and that was a big play. With third and 19, Staubach picks up 21 and the first down at the 46-yard line of Dallas. First and 10.
That's the biggest gainer of the afternoon, and certainly a key one, Bob.
Indeed it is. Hart has gone in there, back in there for defensively for the 49ers at left end for Billy Belt. First and 10, Dallas at their own 46-yard line. Lance Allworth in motion to the right. Staubach handling it off this time to Thomas. Thomas finds a little running room this time as he hit the left side and then cut back in over the middle and got it up to the 46-yard line of the 49ers before Rosie Taylor was able to bring him down there at the 46. Pickup of 8 on the play, second down and 2 to go. The Dallas Cowboys leading in this ball game with 6:16 to play and the clock running here in the first half. 7-0, have the ball, second down and 2 at the San Francisco 49er 46-yard line. Staubach, Thomas, Hill to the backfield. Now they shift from a regular I. Send Allworth in motion to the right. Ball given to the short man, Hill. Hill gets it down to the 42. Pick up of 4. It's a first down. And there Skip Vanderbuck comes in to make the stop.
And I think that Hill is picking up on the play, and he is. Well, it looks as though the Dallas Cowboys may have to go without the services of Calvin Hill the rest of this afternoon. There's a timeout down on the field, and he seems to be hurt, a bad knee maybe.
Meanwhile, right here in Dallas, Texas, we have 5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the first half of play of a 7-0 ball game, led by the homestanding Cowboys of Dallas against the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas having started this drive from its 34-yard line. To give you some progression of the ball game, in case you've just joined us, this is the 6th time that Dallas has had the ball today, including the takeover on the interception by George Andre, which started from the San Francisco 2-yard line. Brody throwing to Andre's interception deep in his own territory, and then Calvin Hill going over for the touchdown. Parks conversion 7-0 with 11:29 left to go in this first half at that time. It's been scoreless the last 6 minutes. The Dallas Cowboys have been forced to punt on 3 occasions. They tried a field goal from Mike Parks on the first time they had the ball. It was short. And then, of course, on the 5th time, Calvin Hill scored. The 49ers have had possession 5 times, losing once by the interception, punting the other 4.
It is Calvin Hill who was hurt. It looks like a knee, and that, of course, is something that the Dallas Cowboys can ill afford. He's a great player, 6'4", 227-pounder, who's picked up 468 yards going to this, 468 yards of the season coming into the playoffs. He's being replaced by Walt Garrison. So it is 1st and 10 now at the 42-yard line of the San Francisco 49ers in possession of the Cowboys. Alworth wide to the left, in the slot to the left, and now in motion to the right goes Bobby Hayes. Takes the cornerback over there with him, Jimmy Johnson. Staubach back to throw, doesn't have anybody. He's going to run with the ball right up the middle. Gets down all the way to the 31-yard line with it. And Staubach can do that. He picked up 11 yards on the play and another first down. There are not too many running quarterbacks in the National Football League, but Greg Landry and this guy are 2 of them, I'll tell you. If he sees that his receivers recovered, Roger just takes off.
You know Greg so well, Bob, from Detroit. And you know, Landry is hoping that Staubach will outgrow his running habit, he calls it. But, of course, in many occasions, it's a case if that receiver is covered, he's going to run. This is only his 3rd year in the pros, and Tom Landry feels he doesn't always see his open receivers when the pressure gets heavy in there.
Set to go again. First down at 10. Dallas at the 31-yard line of the San Francisco 49ers. 7-0. Dallas leading here. 4:30 to play the first half. Staubach's not going to run anywhere this time. He's thrown back at the 40-yard line by Cedric Hartman for the loss on the play, and we'll pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network. This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service. Loss of 10 yards on the play to bring up a 2nd down and 20. The ball at the 39-yard line. 2nd and 19. We have 4 minutes and 22 seconds left here in the first half. Dallas leading at 7-0. They have the ball at the San Francisco 49er 39-yard line. 2nd down and 19 to go. Garrison is in there along with Dwayne Thomas. In motion to the right side goes Lance Allworth. Staubach with the ball straight back into the pocket. Fakes, throws it over there to Garrison, and Garrison is really going to be hit, and really is. It's bumped down around the 47 or 8. Dave Wilcox had that one diagnosed beautifully. He was just waiting for the little swing pass over there. Staubach faked to the left side, then turned and fired it over there to Walt Garrison, and Wilcox was trailing the play, made a good defensive play on it.
49ers have worked defensively against that play a lot, Bob, knowing that Garrison has been the #1 receiver of the Dallas Cowboys this year, throwing to that back out in the flat, and he certainly saw him over there, knew the play was going in that direction, and had him.
Loss of 8 yards on it, so it brings up a 3rd and 27 now for the Dallas Cowboys, and they are back at the 47-yard line of the San Francisco 49ers. 3rd and 27. Staubach looking over the defense in motion. Now coming to the left is Lance Allworth. Staubach with the ball, gives it off to Dwayne Thomas. Thomas has got one blocker out in front of him. John Nyland turns the corner inside the 49ers 40-yard line down around the 38. And Tommy Hart, along with Bruce Taylor, have to make the stop on him there.
The ball halfway between the 37 and the 38-yard line. Fell at the 37. And it brings up a fourth down. Still 17 to go at the 37-yard line. Fourth down and 17. 2 minutes and 49 seconds left here in the first half. And we're going to get a field goal attempt. Holding will be Dan Reeves, and it'll be Mike Clark who will attempt it from the 44-yard line, about at the hash mark on this side. Not much of an angle. Here's the boot. And it is wide of the upright to the outside. No good. So Mike Clark misses a field goal here. The 49ers defensive unit has done the job. They'll take over first down and 10 of their own 20-yard line with 2 minutes and 29 seconds of playing time remaining in the first half. Dallas 7, San Francisco nothing.
How much the loss of Calvin Hill in the running attack for Dallas will mean. Of course, you look back a year ago and it was this combination, Garrison and Thomas, when Hill was injured. And this was the attack that the 49ers were still unable to contain up in San Francisco last year.
First down at 10, San Francisco at their own 20. They have Witcher wide to the right side, and Brody back in the pocket to throw. Fires one over here, and it's going to be no good. It was intended for Cunningham. And Chuck Hawley, the linebacker, tipped it away. Almost had a chance to pull it in. Goes incomplete. Second down at 10. San Francisco from their own 20-yard line. Brody, passing-wise, is 1 out of 8 for 5 yards.
Bob, our field spotters have indicated from below that Hill is obviously suffering pain from that knee injury. They're checking him out right now, and there's no word as to whether or not he'll be back in action here this afternoon. We'll just have to wait and anticipate for Dallas' sake that they'll be able to get him back in here.
All right, Don. Second down at 10. The ball at the 20-yard line of San Francisco. They trail 7-0 to Dallas with 2:23 remaining in the first half. Brody back in the pocket, throws to Cunningham. Cunningham catches it, but he's hit immediately at the 23. Leroy Jordan, along with Chuck Hawley at the 23. A gain to only 3 yards on the play brings up a 3rd and 7. San Francisco trying to move the ball from their own 23-yard line. 2 minutes and 3 seconds showing on the clock. There's the 2-minute warning now to both coaches. 2 minutes left to play here in the first half. In case you joined us late, it's been a defensive battle here, as the score would indicate. Only one turnover of consequence, and that resulted in the Dallas touchdown. Brody back deep in his own territory. Threw a short pass. I don't think he saw George Andre, who picked it off at the San Francisco 9-yard line. To the 9 and the 10. Brody himself had to haul him down at about the 2. A couple of plays later, Calvin Hill banged across on from the 1-yard line for the touchdown. And when Mike converted Mike Clark, it was 7-0, and that's the score that we have right now.
Bob, I think our listeners around the country will agree that the pennies and the dollars don't necessarily...
Well, while there's a timeout on the field, we can give you a rundown of the offensive picture for these two clubs. Dallas this year led the NFC in total offense per game, averaging a fraction under 360 yards per contest. San Francisco was second, averaging 336 yards per game. In rushing offense, Dallas ranked second behind Detroit, 160 yards per game, and that is a good average. San Francisco was fifth with an average of 152 yards per game on the ground. In passing offense, Dallas was number 1 with Staubach at the controls and Morton also during the first half of the season, averaging a fraction under 199, well, let's make it around 200 yards, 199.5 per game. And San Francisco was third with Brody at the helm, 184 yards per game in the air.
And here's Brody grabbing the ball, gives it off on a draw to Willard, and Willard gets just about a yard. That's all. Good defensive play there by Chuck Hawley. The 13-year veteran from West Virginia wasn't fooled on the draw, grabbed him and brought him down after only a yard gain, and it's 4th down and 6. San Francisco at their own 24-yard line. And Steve Spurrier comes into the lineup to do the punting. Hayes and Waters are in the receiving spots for the Cowboys at around their own 40-yard line, as Spurrier is kicking now for the 6th time, 5 times. Pass and center. Gets his kick away, and a fair catch signal for by Hayes at the 38-yard line. Bobby Hayes takes the ball. They mark it to 39. So it'll be first down and 10. After that 39-yard punt by Spurrier, Dallas's ball first and 10 at their own 39-yard line. The ball actually between the 38 and 39, but the closest point is the 39-yard line. The report on Calvin Hill is that it's an irritation of that old knee injury, and we just have to wait to halftime to see the extent of it. First and 10, Dallas at the 39-yard line. Back goes Staubach to throw. Good protection. And he throws it to Alworth along the sidelines, but he did not catch it inbounds, and so just incomplete. Brings up a second and 10. Bruce Taylor was over there covering on the play. 4 out of 11 for 36 yards. That's Staubach's figures air-wise here today. Second down and 10. The ball at the 39-yard line. 51 seconds of playing time remaining in the first half. Dallas leading it 7-0. 65,000 fans here at this beautiful Texas stadium watching the action. Cowboys all set. Alworth is on the right side. Hayes to the left. Back goes Roger to throw. Pretty good protection. Fires it down. He's got Hayes at the 48-yard line of the 49ers, and he's hit immediately by Bruce Taylor and dropped there. 45 seconds to play here in the first half, and of course the Dallas Cowboys picking up a first down, hoping to get the ball deep enough so that Clark at least can have a shot at a field goal, and the Cowboys take time out here to kill the clock with 45 seconds to play. When play is resumed, it'll be first and 10 for them at the 49er 48-yard line. Gain of 13 on that last play.
Bob, the question was raised here today in matching up Staubach and Brody. How much experience would mean to the 49er cause? Whether his experience would be an edge over Roger Staubach, and I'd have to doubt that. Since the ex-Heisman Trophy took over the primary signal calling role for the Cowboys, the record speaks for itself. They have not lost, and if Roger, of course, needs any help in a pressure, must-win situation such as this facing him today, he certainly gets it from the play-calling tactics of his boss, Tom Landry. And Staubach is play-calling today from Tom Landry's help, is keeping that 49er secondary guessing now. He's going to the air a little bit more, and it is has this 49er secondary and the entire defense on its toes.
First down and 10, Dallas at the 48 of San Francisco. Staubach right back in the pocket. The rush is on. He gets out of it. And he's going to pick up some yards down to the 45 as he has to run with it. Gets about 3 before Tommy Hart pulls him down along with Charlie Kruger. And the Cowboys take time out again with 38 seconds showing on the clock here. Billy Truax and Mike Ditka alternate at the tight end spots for Dallas and bring in the plays from Thacker and Tom Landry along the sidelines. Johnny Fuller is in there now defensively for the 49ers in place of Rosie Taylor, who is along the sideline. Staubach today has carried the ball 5 times for 32 yards. So when play is resumed again, it'll be second down and 7. Dallas's ball at the 45-yard line of the San Francisco 49ers with 38 seconds left to play. 49ers have 3 timeouts. Cowboys have just 1 left. Cowboys aren't interested in stopping the clock, not unless they get the football. Hayes is split to the left, Alworth to the right, throws set of the backfield, and Staubach is back to throw. The rush is on, and he's going to be grabbed and thrown down beautifully. A beautiful defensive play by Cedric Hartman, who just rushed past the blocker over there and grabbed Roger and dumped him for a loss back at the 47-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys, and that puts him a little bit out of range.
Bob, there's the guy that they took advantage of up in San Francisco a year ago, and certainly Cedric is saying this is the second time around, and you better think otherwise.
Well, that's what Nolan said, too. Remember, Don, he said they may find it a little difficult this time to take advantage of that side because we've got a little bit more experience there than we had the last time that the Cowboys played us. A loss of 8 on the play, back to the 47-yard line. So it is 3rd and 15 now for Dallas at their own 47 with 15 seconds left. That's all, and the clock running. In motion to the right goes Bob Hayes. Staubach with the ball, back in the pocket. Still looking. And he's going to be hit, and he is hit. Now, whether they ruled it a fumble or a pass, they ruled it a fumble, and it's intercepted and is picked up at the 45-yard line by Edwards, and he's dropped right there. And the gun goes off. That's the end of the first half on the fumble when Staubach was hit. Ball popped out, and Cedric Hartman, Edwards was the man who picked up the fumble at about the 40-yard line to end the first half. So that's the end of the first half. With the score, Dallas 7, San Francisco nothing. And by Chuck Howley. So we are underway here from Texas Stadium in the third period. Dallas 7, San Francisco nothing. The 49ers will put it in play first down and 10 at their own 24-yard line. Willard and Washington will be the running backs. John Brody the quarterback. Dick Witcher and Gene Washington will be the wide receivers. And Ted Pollock will be the tight end. The interior linemen, Len Rhodey and Cass Balasick at the tackles. Randy Weisler and Peoples at the guards, and Blue in at center. Washington wide to the right side this time. Witcher to the left. Brody with the ball. Fakes, drops back in the pocket. Looks for somebody. Good protection. Fires it long and deep for Washington. He's got it. Makes the catch. Good at the 48-yard line and out of bounds. Gene Washington. So Brody on the first play going deep to Washington. Washington caught it along the sidelines of the 48-yard line and goes out of bounds right there. So it is a first down and 10, and the gain on the play of 24 yards. So it is first and 10, San Francisco at their own 48-yard line. Just underway here in the third period from Texas Stadium. Washington wide to the right. Witcher to the left side. High formation of the backfield for Brody. The fake, the ball is handed off to Willard, and Willard is hit about the 47 by Larry Cole, the number one man in there, number 63, 6'4", 250-pound, 4-year veteran who played his college ball at Hawaii. A loss of a yard. It is now second down and 11 at the 47-yard line. Second and 11. San Francisco's ball at their own 47-yard line. They trailed the Cowboys here 7-0. Witcher wide to the right side this time, and on the far side, Washington. That's Gene Washington, number 18. Back goes Brody in the pocket again. The rush is on. The blitz, he fires, and it is almost intercepted. Cornell Green was there. The pass was intended for Ted Pollock, the tight end.
Ted has been the favorite receiver of the 49ers this year, and only the rush, I think, prevented. He had to throw over him, I think, higher than he wanted to. He had Qualick breaking perfectly on that pass up the middle, where those tight ends try to beat that zone defense by taking off the spots in between the linebackers. That's how you have to beat that zone defense, and John had it beat were it not for the rush to force him to throwing over that rush.
Third down and 11 at the 47-yard line. Big third down play now for the 49ers. Witcher and Washington are wide. Washington on the right side, Witcher on the left. The handoff goes in there to Vic Washington. Washington turns the corner, gets up over the midfield marker and down into Cowboy territory at the Cowboy 48-9. And Leroy Jordan, along with Mel Renfro, bring him down at the 48-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys.
And, Bob, that's a historic move right there. That's the first penetration of Dallas territory today by the 49ers. They had moved as far as their own 42-yard line the third time they had the ball today before forced to kick, and this is the first time they've been in Cowboy territory.
It's a fourth down. And about 6 to go, and Steve Spurrier is back in kick formation. The pass from center is a little high, but he gets it away. Hayes is back there. Bobby grabs it on the fly at the 11, looks for some running room, doesn't have much, and is finally hauled down around the 14-yard line. Making the stop on him was Johnny Watson, who is on the specialty team, and the ball is at the 14, where the Cowboys will put it in play first down and 10 from their own 14-yard line. We're in the opening moments of this, the third quarter from Texas Stadium, the championship game in the National Football League. The winner of this one on to the Super Bowl against the winner of this afternoon's other ball game, which will be broadcast for you. Super Bowl next week will be broadcast for you on CBS. The winner of this one and the winner of the other one this afternoon between Miami and Dallas and Baltimore. First and 10 from the 14. The ball is given off to Garrison, and Garrison gets up over the 15 and is hauled down around the 18 by Cedric Hartman. North Texas State boys. At the 19, they mark it. Gain of 5. So it is second down and 5 to go for Dallas. The ball at the 19-yard line of the Cowboys. They lead 7-0 on an early break. An intercepted pass by George Andre at the 9-yard line of the San Francisco 49ers. Set it up, and Calvin Hill scored the only touchdown from 1 yard out. High formation to the backfield for the Cowboys. 2nd and 5 for them. The ball is given off to Dwayne Thomas, and he's going nowhere. He gets hauled down right about at the line of scrimmage by Dave Wilcox. And it appeared to Don as though nobody laid a hand on Wilcox at all.
He had a clear shot at him, certainly, and Dallas now with a 3rd down and 5 situation. A key play because Dallas, of course, wants to control that ball. That's the way they try to beat you, by using that time-consuming ground game. And here's a 3rd down situation which they must convert or else give up the pigskin.
Reeves has come in there now for Dwayne Thomas, number 30, Dan Reeves, who is a player coach for the Cowboys. And here's the big 3rd down play for the Cowboys. 3rd and 5 from their own 19-yard line. Reeves is in the slot to the left. Hayes is wide. Staubach dropping back, looking. Firing it over here, and it is no good. Intended for Reeves, right around the 33-yard line. Good defensive play by Rosie Taylor, who is there where he belongs. And that will bring up a 4th down and 5 situation at the 19-yard line and bring in Ron Whitby. Johnny Fuller and Bruce Taylor dropping back to receive the kick.
Dallas leading San Francisco by a score of 7-0 here in the 3rd quarter in this strict defensive battle. Reminder later, Baltimore and Miami at Miami.
Here's the pass from center. The rush is on, and it's almost blocked, but he gets away a dandy. Taylor takes it at his own 38-yard line and is hauled down immediately, making the stop Braxton Welch. Beautiful kick under pressure. Almost blocked. But he got it away. So the 49ers will put it in play. 1st down and 10 at their own 37. And we're getting a timeout. 43 yards on that kick. They have the feeling, Don, that every now and then somebody's going to block a kick as far as those 49ers are concerned on Whitby, because they have really put the pressure on it.
Commissioner Pete Rozelle of the National Football League acknowledged today that he has given lie detector tests to club owners in regard to gambling on pro football games. In an interview on CBS Television's Issues and Answers, the commissioner, who has previously given lie detector tests and fined and suspended players for gambling, said that the tests were not restricted just to players, but also the owners. Rozelle stated further that the tests concerning the owners established to the satisfaction of the league any wrongdoing concerning owners gambling. He said, if an owner were proven guilty of gambling, according to the league rules, he would be expelled from the NFL. Rozelle repeated his denouncement of off-track betting being expanded to include all sports, especially pro football, where wagering is considered widespread. He said no amount of money given to the football teams could justify legalized betting on football games. As things now stand, you have the states in partnership with the tracks.
Back into the action now. The 49ers with the ball. 1st and 10 of their own 37-yard line as Brody looks over the defense. One wide receiver hands the ball off, fakes, drops back, and going long and deep. He's got Pollock at the 40-yard line of the Cowboys, and Pollock is hit immediately up the 38, and down he goes. Herb Adderley was over covering on the play. Cliff Harris was over there. The pass complete to the 38-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys from the 37 of the 49ers. 1st down, of course. "25 yards on the play. 1st down and 10. San Francisco at the Dallas 38-yard line, and I believe this is as deep as they have been. Crowd starts to roar a little bit. One wide receiver to the left is Washington. Brody looking over the defense, takes his time, grabs the ball, gives it to Willard. Willard trying to find some running room, gets inside the 35, down to around the 33 with it. Making the stop on him there was Dave Edwards, number 52 from Auburn.
Brody now trying to mix his attack with a little more effectiveness. The revitalized running game this year, engineered by the tandem effort of Ken Willard and Vic Washington. Ken that time. Of course, any quarterback glad to have the kind of support from the ground that makes his passing attack, complements it, and then makes it all the more effective. The long pass to his favorite receiver this year, Ted Kwalik. As Bob mentioned, the deepest penetration for the 49ers so far in this game. Now at the Dallas 33.
2nd down and 5 from there. Wichert goes wide to the left. Also, Washington is out there on the left side. 2 wide receivers to the left. And Brody goes back to throw. Fires a little swing pass over to Willard. Willard at the 35 turns the corner and is still on his feet. Fights his way down to about the 27-yard line. And that will be close to a first down if it's not one. Then Mel Renfrew finally hauled him down. And the 49ers now have some momentum going for them. This is a first down, and they mark it at the 27. He needed 5 for the first down, and the swing pass was good for 6. So it is first down and 10. The ball now at the 27-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys in possession of the 49ers, who trail 7-0, making their best offensive thrust of the day so far. This crowd starts to roar. First down and 10 of the 27-yard line for the 49ers. Wide receivers, Witcher to the right, Washington to the left. The ball is given off this time to Washington. Vic Washington, number 22, and he fights a couple of yards to the 25, and George Andre is the number 1 man to meet him. Leroy Jordan, number 55, also at the 25, a gain of 2, second down, and 8 to go. Well, just over the 25-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys, who lead it 7-0 on a 1-yard touchdown by Calvin Hill after an intercepted pass at the 9-yard line of the 49ers had set it up. Second down and 8. Brody looking it over at the 25 of the Cowboys. Brody has 2 wide receivers. Gives it, fakes the draw, goes over to the side, fires to Kwolek, and Kwolek has got it out of bounds at the 21. Cornell Green over there with him. That favorite combination, Brody to Kwolek. Complete at the 21, a gain of 4, and it'll be 3rd and 4.
The thing that has to be encouraging now to John Brody, Bob, is the fact that he knew he had to go to the air to beat this Dallas defense. Dallas knew it as well as he, and yet it has become very effective. And it has to worry that secondary of Dallas that has had its problems. Remember, they are 9 out of 13, the 9th team out of a 13-team conference in pass defense. And Brody finding some holes there now and making it hurt.
And no cooler, calmer veteran engineers the club than Brody. 3rd and 4, back he goes in the pocket. Looking long and deep into the end zone, he fires, and it is battled away on a beautiful defensive play by Cornell Green. Intended once again for the tight end, Ted Kwolek. And Cornell Green made the great defensive play that time. So that'll bring up a 4th down and 4 from the 21, and it'll bring in Bruce Gossett, who has kicked 23 of 36 field goals in the regular season of the San Francisco 49ers. Beautiful defensive play by Cornell Green, who just tipped it away from Kwolek at the last moment, right in the end zone. So with 4th and 4 at the 21-yard line of the Cowboys, 6 minutes and 55 seconds of playing time remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the score is 7-0 Dallas. Gossett will attempt one from the 27-yard line, right on the hash mark on this side of the field. So we got very little angle. Ball is placed by Brody. Gossett's kick is up, and it is good. A 27-yard field goal from Bruce Gossett, and the score now is Dallas 7, San Francisco 3. Well, Don Brody did a good job in engineering that drive, taking his club through the air and on the ground down in the field goal position. And Gossett finally came through with a 27-yarder to make it 7-3.
Of course, pure arithmetic will tell you that 2 field goals do not make a touchdown, and the 49ers are still forced by the present score prevailing against them to find that end zone of Dallas. They'll have to do that, or else, of course, Gossett coming into play 2 more times. But the significant point about that drive, it's the longest one of the day, Bob. They went 42 yards. The previous high had been Dallas's first possession of the day when they went 31 yards. But Brody now, in 2 possessions, they went 28 the first time, and that time 42 yards. And, of course, that means that they have negotiated that one drive their total yardage of the first half when they got only 42.
And Cornell Green, unless he has a couple of more plays like that during the course of this second half, probably won't make a bigger play than he made right there. It was a great defensive play. Gossett, who just booted the 27-yard field goal for the 49ers, which brings them to within 4 as the ball set up on the 40. And the deep men for the Cowboys are Harris and Waters. Cliff Harris, number 43, and Charlie Waters, number 41, only that looks like it is Ike Thomas over there. Thomas on the far side, Waters, Harris on the near side. Here's the boot. 3 or 4 yards deep in the end zone. It hits the goalpost, so the ball is dead. It'll come out to the 20-yard line, and the Dallas Cowboys will put it in play right there. First and 10 at their own 20. We have 6 minutes and 47 seconds of playing time remaining here in the third quarter on this beautiful afternoon for football here in Texas. This new Texas stadium seating 65,000. And they are all here today watching this one. First down and 10. The Cowboys from their own 20-yard line. Roger Staubach is the quarterback. Garrison and Thomas are the halfbacks. And they are split in the pro set with 2 wide receivers. Back goes Staubach to throw the quick one to 25 to Hayes. Hayes is out of bounds at the 28. Bruce Taylor was the man who was on Bobby Hayes, and this crowd here thought that he was a little over-enthusiastic, what you call it, down along the sidelines.
Well, they took him down after, of course, they'd gone over the sidelines, but sometimes you have a man in your possession, your momentum won't let you get loose from him, and then the balance takes care of itself from that point. I don't think Taylor was doing anything malicious, but remember, he's playing in front of a lot of people who have no use for those fellows in the red and gold uniforms.
I asked the defensive back that once. He said, my fingers get caught in the jerseys.
Yeah.
I can't let go, you know. Second down and 2 at the 28-yard line. 2 wide receivers. Hayes and Allworth. The ball is given off to Dwayne Thomas. Dane is following one block down the sideline. Does he go out of bounds? He does. At the 35-yard line. They marked him out of bounds. That's at the 35. And it was Dave Wilcox who finally forced him out of bounds way up here at the 35-yard line of the 49ers, but he stepped out of bounds at his own 35. So actually, there's only a gain of 7 on the play, but it is a first down. Dallas first and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Thomas getting a good block that time from John Nyland. All at the 35-yard line of Dallas in the possession of the Cowboys, and they lead it 7-3 here. We are in the third quarter of play with 6 minutes and 35 seconds of playing time remaining. Hayes is in the slot to the left. Here's Staubach handing it off to Dwayne Thomas. Thomas going outside, getting a block in there from Nye, and his hit drops as he gets to about the 36. Mel Phillips is the man who made the tackle. A gain of a yard, second down and 9. And Dwayne Thomas, who had such a great day against the 49ers last year in San Francisco when he picked up 143 yards, has had his problems here today. They've keyed on him pretty well. He's carried the ball 9 times and has only 33 yards. So they have an eye on Dwayne Thomas. Second down and 9 is the situation. Dallas in possession at their own 36-yard line. Allworth wide to the left, Hayes to the right. Throws set of the backfield with Garrison back there along with Thomas. Back goes Staubach to throw, staying in the pocket. He's going to be hit and dropped for the loss. He gets out of it, however, but the whistle has blown at the 29. And this crowd doesn't like that call. Charlie Kruger was the man who broke through there and got a hold of Roger. Roger was knocked down, but he wasn't going anywhere. Charlie Kruger was the man who broke through there and got a hold of Roger. Roger was knocked down, but he wasn't going anywhere. The whistle blew. He tried to get out of it, and the crowd didn't like the call very much. It was a loss on the play of 6 back to the 30-yard line, and so it'll bring up a third down now and 15. Big play there defensively for the 49ers.
Our score, Dallas 7, San Francisco 49ers 3, with about 5 minutes left here in the third period at Irving, Texas.
Sending the NFC Championship battle here in Dallas between the 49ers and the Cowboys, who lead it 7-3 over San Francisco.
Big third down play here, 3rd and 15 for Dallas at their own 30-yard line. Hayes is wide to the left in the slot. Is Allworth, and back goes Staubach to throw. He's going to have to scramble out of there. Still scrambling. Now he's going to run with it. 30, 35. Pull down from behind at the 40-yard line. Making the stop on him there was Wilcox along with Frank Nunley. He picked up about 11 yards on the play, but he was short of the first down because he had 15 to go. So at the 40-yard line, they give him 10 yards on it. And it'll be 4th down and 5. And Ron Whitby is in there to do the punting. And remember, we have mentioned this several times, that San Francisco defense has really put the pressure on Whitby, and he's had 2 or 3 punts that have been almost blocked. The last one We can't see how he got it away. This time, however, he doesn't have any pressure, and he gets a boomer away. And a fair catch is signaled for it. It's going right into the end zone for the touchback, and there was a beautiful punt of 70 yards. And I must mention also that there's no wind factor involved here at this Texas Stadium at all. So he really got the good foot to that one. 70 yards into the end zone, and the 49ers will have to start now 1st and 10 from their own 20. All set to go. The Cowboys ball at their own 20-yard line. 7-3 the score. 4:32 remaining third period. Witcher wide to the right, Washington wide to the left. Brody is the quarterback, as he has been all day. Ball goes to the deep man. Washington finds an opening, breaks up into the middle, gets to the 35-yard line before Vick is pulled down from behind by Cornell Green. Some fine blocking up front by the 49ers that time, springing Vick Washington loose. Forrest Blue and Randy Weisler up at the 35, a gain of 15 yards of the first down. 1st and 10, San Francisco at their own 35. 4 minutes and 7 seconds to play, third quarter, and the clock running. Out over the ball goes Forrest Blue, a 4-year veteran from Auburn. Witcher is the only wide receiver. He's out wide, or rather Washington to the right side now. Brody from the I formation with the ball, gives it off to Willard, and Willard is hit immediately at the 35 by Larry Cole. And so there is no gain on that one, and it'll bring up a 2nd down and 10 from the 35. And as Don has pointed out, and we have mentioned on occasion, the San Francisco 49ers must make the running attack go if Brody's passes are to be effective. He's had one good drive here today. He wants to get another one going right here. He faces a 2nd down and 10 situation from his own 35, trailing 7-3. Witcher wide to the right, Washington wide to the left. Throw set at the backfield for Brody, who looks over that tip defense of the Cowboys. Back he goes a step or two, throws a quick one, it's batted away. And it was Bob Lilly, I believe, and Cole. Both Lilly and Cole had a hand up on Brody that time and batted it away, so it goes incomplete, and it's 3rd and 10 at the 35. And again, that big 3rd down play. Don facing Brody right here. Conversion-wise on those 3rd downs, he is 0 for 6, so that tells you a little story there.
It certainly does. And now, John, of course, after 2 fine drives, the first one, 28 and then 42 yards, he needs long yardage here to keep possession, of course, otherwise would have to kick.
3rd and 10 at the 35-yard line. Watch the defensive play now of the Dallas Cowboys. Washington and Witcher are wide. Witcher to the far side, Washington to this side. Back in the pocket goes John. Poised and throws, and he has got Washington at the 43 of the Dallas Cowboys, who makes a diving catch for the ball there. They pick up that all-important 1st down. 22 yards on the play and a big one.
You know, Bob, fans may wonder what I mean when I say he's had 2 fine drives in this half of 28 and 42 yards. That's all a comparison to the longest drive in the first half of 18, but we've had a slight turnaround here if you really analyze this thing. The 49ers have now gone 37 yards on this drive, 28 and 42, while holding Dallas to only 5 and 20 yards in their first 2 possessions, and it's a turnaround on that first half.
Momentum has changed just a little bit. 1st and 10 now for the 49ers at the 43-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Brody faking and dropping back, throwing a screen to Washington at the 48-yard line. He gets to the 45 and is forced out of bounds there by Herb Adderley, who was the number 1 man to hit him. Little screen to the right side to Vic Washington, and the yardage is to the 44-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. And so actually a loss of a yard on the play. 2nd down and 11.
Bob, there, of course, was a case of Brody. That's one of his favorite plays, that screen, but he had the rush on it, and they took away the screen. There was only 1 man in front of Washington even after he got it. So the rush, of course, in that case, got to John just too quickly.
2nd down and 11 from the 44 of Dallas. Witcher wide to the left, Washington wide to the right. Here's Brody with the ball, dropping straight back. Throwing it over in the flat to Tread Pollock. Pollock's got it at the 42 and is ridden out of bounds at the far side of the 40-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys by Cornell Green. A gain of 2 on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd and 9 at the 42-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. And we have 2 minutes and 17 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter of this fine ball game between these 2 top clubs, fighting for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Big 3rd down play. Brody completed his first 3rd down situation the last time, and now he's 1 out of 7, and he faces another one here. 3rd and 9 at the 40-yard line. They mark it. So make it 3rd and 7 at the 40. 3rd and 7 for San Francisco at the Dallas 40-yard line. 2 wide receivers, Witcher and Washington. Back goes Brody to throw. The rush is on. He's way back to his own 43-yard line. Now throws it out of bounds. Lilly was in there hooking on Brody.
I don't think he saw him, Bob.
I don't think he did either. He was coming from his blind side. He was all the way back to his own 40 before he let the ball go. So it's an incomplete pass. It comes back to the line of scrimmage, which is the Cowboy 40, and it brings up a 4th and 7 at the 40. And Bruce Gossett is in there. 7-3 is the score. 2 minutes and 8 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter. And Tom Landry points back toward the goal line to send his man back there to cover. That's Mel Renfro dropping back by himself, and the field goal attempt will be from the 47. Bruce Gossett, who has kicked 1 of 27, now has one 20 yards deeper from the 47. Here's the boot. It's long enough, but it is wide of the upright to the left side, and it is no good. And so the Cowboys will put it in play with the defensive unit turning in another superb job. 1st down and 10 at their own 20. And we'll pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Bob Reynolds along with Don Klein here from the Texas Stadium in Dallas. 1st and 10, Dallas at their own 20-yard line. 2 minutes and 1 second to play 3rd quarter. Dallas 7, San Francisco 3. Back goes Staubach. Long and deep for Lance Alworth, but Alworth got it, but he caught it out of bounds. He was in the air. Bruce Taylor making the defensive play, but Alworth was in the air when he caught the ball, and his feet did not come down in bounds, as you will see when you see the pictures in the paper tomorrow, if they show them. He made a fine reception, but unfortunately he was not in the field of play when he caught it.
Boy, how Lance can get up in the air, Bob, to pull those down.
2nd down and 10 at the 20-yard line. Dallas in possession. 1 minute and 56 remaining here in the 3rd period. 7-3. Dallas out in front. Bobby Hayes wide to left. Lance Alworth to the right side, not too far out. The I formation, the pitch back to Dwayne Thomas. Dwayne trying to turn the corner, does, and is run out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 23-yard line, and Tommy Hart is the man who forced him out there. Gain of 3, 3rd down and 7. They have keyed on Dwayne Thomas all day today, that San Francisco defense, and done a good job on him. 3rd and 7 as he picked up only 3 that time. The ball is at the Dallas 23-yard line. Thomas has carried 10 times and has averaged only 3.6 to carry for 36 yards on the day. 3rd down and 7 is the play situation now as the Cowboys come out of the huddle. The ball is at their own 23-yard line, and it is 7-3. Dallas leading. Allworth wide to the left this time. Bobby Hayes wide to the right. Throw set in the backfield. Garrison is in there with Thomas. And back goes Roger Staubach to pass at the 15-yard line. Now he's going to have to roll out of there. He's way back to his 5-yard line. Starts upfield. Now he reverses his field again. Fires over here. He's got a man, Reeves, at the 32, at the 35. Up to the 40-yard line goes Reeves with the ball. And Staubach thrills the crowd here with that one. He was hemmed in. Earl Edwards was really chasing it back around the 5-yard line. How he ever got out of it, I don't know, but got out of it he did. He finally spotted Dan Reeves around the 35 and hit him for it. And after all the running around and all of the hustle and bustle, he picks up 16 yards and a big 1st down at the 40-yard line of Dallas.
Bob, Tom Landry may not like his quarterback, Roger Staubach, to run too much, and when he has to, I bet he's glad he can run like that, huh?
Yeah. Got out of a big hole there. The ball is handed off to Garrison. Garrison finding some running room, gets up over the 45 to the 47. And Tommy Hart is the man who finally makes the tackle on him there. They mark at the 46-yard line. Gain of 6, 2nd down and 4. And we have 40 seconds remaining to be played here in the 3rd quarter of this ball game from Texas Stadium. 7-3 the score, Dallas leading. 2nd and 4 at the 46-yard line of Dallas. Bobby Hayes comes out as the only wide receiver on the left side. Lance Allworth on the far side, on the short side of the field. Garrison directly behind the quarterback, Roger Staubach. Roger taking his time, grabs the ball, goes back straight into the pocket this time, stands and looks, has all kinds of time. Now he's going to run again. But this time he's going to be hauled down from the rear at the 46 by Cedric Hartman. And so there is no gain on the play. Actually, he might have lost a half a yard. About 6 seconds left. He loses a yard. They put the ball back at the 45. So it brings up a third down now and 5 for Dallas from their own 45-yard line. And we're getting a timeout for the officials. The end of the third quarter with the score, Dallas 7 and San Francisco 3. And this great crowd of 66,000 enjoying every minute of it. As we get set to go into the fourth and final quarter, the ball is at the 45-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys in their possession. Third down and 5 to go. 7-3 is the score. And ready to bring you the action of this, the fourth and final quarter, maybe, because there's no ties in this one. If they are tied, they go into sudden death. To bring you the action once again, CBS Sports Director from San Francisco, Tom Klein.
Bob, going into this fourth quarter, we'll look back at history of a year ago. You might remember that Dallas went into the fourth quarter ahead of the San Francisco 49ers by the score of 17-3. They were then, the 49ers had to come back and score the 7 points, falling short 17-10. They were scoreless in the fourth quarter. Obviously, the 49ers cannot afford to let that happen here now. Here's Dallas ready at their own 45-yard line, slot back formation, left side. Staubach is going back to pass, cocks his arm, throws 20 yards, caught by Truax. He's down to the 35, down to the 32-yard line for a first down. A couple of yards as Earl Edwards came through to make the stop, just past the 49er 25-yard line. It's second down and about 2 to go. Gain of 8 on the play. Rosie Taylor's all right. He's back in now for Johnny Fuller at that safety spot.
Staubach has carried 7 times now, Don, for 49 yards.
He's about the leading ground gainer of the day now. Here's the handoff given to Walt Garrison, plunging through the left side, and Garrison appears to have the first down. Garrison stopped by Charlie Kruger, just short of the 20-yard line.
There's a little bit of second effort for you, Don, as Garrison picked up that first down by a sheer good second effort. He was around the 22 and a half or so and just kept his legs turning and got it down to the 20 for the first down. And a big one it is.
Well, I'll tell you, this Dallas offense doesn't drop up very much between Hill and Garrison, and he and Thomas are now the running combination. This time Thomas is up in a slot back on the left side, comes back to a normal I formation now, fronted by Garrison, as Staubach has the ball, gives off to the lead man. Garrison again past the 15 and goes through 2 men, hit by 3 more and fall down to 13.
What we were just talking about, that great second effort of Garrison. And there's 2 times in a row that he's given you an example of it. This time he carries it all the way down to almost the 13-yard line. Walt Garrison.
Matter of fact, Bob, we're talking about the leading rusher of the Super Bowl last year, you remember, in the game against Baltimore. Walt was the top ground gainer. He's averaged 3.5 yards per carry this year. Cedric Hartman and Rosie Taylor were the men who finally stopped him on that one. It's second down after a gain of 7. 2nd and 3 for Dallas. As here's Staubach ready. Hands off to Thomas behind the block up. Garrison gets down to the 12-yard line. And that is short of a first down. So the Cowboys will have a 3rd and about 1 situation now. Call it 3rd and 2. They've advanced this ball from their own 20-yard line.
Stan Heineman going in there now as Coach Dick Nolan gets some big guys up front. And hopping away is Mel Phillips, being assisted off the field. Johnny Fuller has gone in for the 49ers at a safety spot.
It doesn't appear that Mel will be back in action. He is really favoring his right knee now. His right foot is completely off the ground as he's helped over by the 49er trainers. Dallas will have a 3rd down, about 1.5 yards to go. 11:55 remain in the 4th and final period of a ball game with the Super Bowl bid hanging in the balance for the winner here. And Dallas, leading 7-3 at the moment, could put the 49ers in dire straits if they cap this off with a score. Here's Staubach ready. Lone back is Garrison, joined by Thomas coming back in a shift. As here's Staubach now fakes to Garrison, looks right, and throws to the 8-yard line. Caught there by Truax. Or rather, Mike Ditka, who's in at the tight end for Truax, and he's got a first down at about the 7-yard line.
Dandy call, Don, on third down and short situation. Brody gave it a great fake, dropped back a pace or two, and saw Ditka over there and hit him with it just enough for the first down, and so it is now first and goal to go at the 8-yard line. Good call that time by Staubach.
That ball at the 8, they've moved 72 yards in this drive. They needed 80, of course, and they're within 8 of it now. First down and goal for Dallas at the 49er 8-yard line. Johnny Fuller, man on Truax that time, or rather on Ditka.
So we're getting a timeout call here by the Dallas Cowboys as Roger Staubach goes over to the sidelines and talks to Tom Landry. You know, the college football season is too long, according to a lot of coaches, and one of them is Arizona State University's head man, Frank Kush. And Friday, he said a players' revolt may be coming if it is not shortened. He said, we are creating our own monster, pointing to the 11-game schedules and a proliferation of bowl games. He said the kids have so many more interests nowadays that it wouldn't surprise me at all to see some of the ball players saying, to hell with it, we don't want to play in a bowl game, especially one that doesn't mean anything. Very frankly, he said, it was very tough keeping the kids up for the Fiesta Bowl game against Florida State. I think, said Kush, it is inevitable that more of the bowl games be played prior to Christmas vacation. And I can see national playoffs coming. There's no doubt in my mind that the bowl games will eventually be used to determine the national champion. And that's the way it should be, he said. Right now, most of the bowl games don't mean a thing. I feel sure that's what the NCAA has in mind, and the only reason it approved the Fiesta Bowl as one of its sanctioned ball games. Well, there's been a lot of talk the last 2 years about a national playoff coming down to a single elimination and two teams meeting in one of the major bowl games on New Year's Day, but that's still not in the works yet.
Hayes to the right, Allworth out left, and going to a slot back is Thomas. The remaining back is Garrison. Staubach has the ball, gives to Garrison, and he gets a couple of yards, past the 5 down to the 4, and gains more than that. He picked up about 4 yards. Walt Garrison, in his 6th season as a Dallas Cowboy, and taking up the slack when Calvin Hill's injury forced him from the action, and Garrison is certainly filling up that hole.
As Billy Truax into the lineup now in place of Mike Ditka as Tom Landry continues to shuffle his tight ends in and out of there with the plays.
Truax lines up tight on the left. Hayes is a flanker back right, and Thomas goes over to the left of Truax as a slot there in the wide spread of Allworth. Here's the handoff given to Garrison. He's bottled up at about the 3-yard line. Got no more than a yard that time as the 49ers dig in defensively up front. And that was Tommy Hart coming up from that left end spot defensively to lead the attack against Garrison. So it is now a third down. Third down at the 49er 2-yard line. And your ball game in the Super Bowl bid could hang in the balance right here now. If Dallas gets into that end zone, it would, of course, put them out of range of a touchdown comeback for the 49ers. If the 49ers can hold and gain possession, of course, they are within easy range, the Cowboys are, of field goal here.
See what kind of a play that Landry sent in on this one.
As here's Staubach ready again. As the setbacks behind him, pitches out to Thomas, getting a block, turning toward the end zone, and into a Dallas touchdown. Runs it in from the 2-yard line. And it's a score for the Cowboys that puts them at the moment just about out of reach, 13-3.
And they go 80 yards in 10 plays, Don, with Wayne Thomas going, in 14 plays rather, with Thomas going the final 2 for the touchdown.
And now kicking is Mike Clark, holding the ball. Here's Dan Reeves to kick on his way, and that one is good. And it makes it a 14-3 ball game led by the Dallas Cowboys over the 49ers here. with now the time remaining 9 minutes and 17 seconds.
Obviously, Coach Tom Landry of the 49ers, of the Cowboys rather, saw that the 49er defense was pinched in tight, and he sent in the play from the sidelines and said, give the quick toss out to Thomas. He ought to be able to turn the corner for 2 yards for the score, and he did. So we've got a 14-3 ball game now with the Dallas Cowboys out in front. And 9 minutes and 17 seconds of playing time remaining. As Mike Clark has the ball set up at the 40-yard line, and the 49ers back there trying to set up a return now. Cunningham is back there, along with Vic Washington.
Ready and kicking off, Mike Clark for Dallas, and now the 49ers in a bad hole here with the time remaining, 9:17, and that is not yet a factor. Vic Washington, Doug Cunningham, the receivers, as the kick downfield is to about the 9-yard line, grabbed there by Cunningham, up to the 20, the 25, and to the 29-yard line. A 51-yard kick to the 9, to run back about 20 yards, and San Francisco has the ball at the 49er 29-yard line, where Chuck Hawley made the stop on the run back of Cunningham. As Thomas went into the end zone, he was led, convoyed in there by Blaine Nye, a great name in Stanford football, and we have to look back just 24 hours at this moment, and what a great day for his ex-teammates from Stanford in that victory over Michigan, and John Ralston, certainly with 2 Rose Bowl triumphs. What a great afternoon for the Tribe. Here we go as the 49ers ready at the 29-yard line. As going back to pass now is Brody throwing a long one, 40 yards to Washington. He got it! He got it down at the 35-yard line. Gene Washington taking that pass at the 35, where it is going to be a 1st and 10 for the 49ers. As John Brody goes to his favorite weapon now in this kind of situation, you'll have to gain yardage in a hurry, and that one was good for about 37 yards on the play from the 29-yard line of the 49ers and down to the Dallas 34, a distance of 37 yards. First down, 10 to go, 49ers. Brody calls his signals now with the setbacks in behind him. Willard and Washington. Brody goes to the air, hits Washington at the 29-yard line. A gain on the play of about 5 yards to Gene Washington, and that'll make it a 2nd down and 5 to go. The clock moving, of course. 8 minutes remaining exactly now in this ball game, and the score is 14 for the Cowboys and 3 for the 49ers. Brody knows he has to take the team to the air. And he's penetrated this secondary time and again in this second half much more effectively than in the first half. Here's John Reddy, hands it off to Willard. He hits down the 33-yard line. Going for a decisive loss on the play. Some 5 yards by Bob Lilly. The 6th-time All-Pro right tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, with a key play there for the Cowboy defensive cause. It's back to the 32-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down now, and about 8 to go. Here's Larry Schreiber coming in for Ken Willard. As I mentioned, Brody has to go to the air. Of course, he has to keep the defense honest and go to the ground, but as he does, Dallas stops him cold.
Is that big 3rd down play again for Brody?
3rd and 8 for John as he calls his signals. Normal spread. Setbacks behind him are now Schreiber and Washington. Brody throws. Incomplete. Larry Schreiber coming out of the backfield, the center receiver. Dave Edwards, the fullback, the linebacker on the left side, coming across to get him. The fullback pattern for the 49ers, which has been very effective, of course, this year for John, fails in that particular case, and it's 4th down and 8 to go. The 49ers will have to keep going here. There's no thought of a field goal. 4th down and 8. We have 6:50 left to go in the game.
Listen to this crowd now as they sense the drama involved here. 4th down and 8 to go. No field goal attempt.
Here's John Reddy calling his signals. Looks over a 5-man front for Dallas now, sensing a rush. He's back to pass, hurries his pass, incomplete. Dallas will take over. That was Jethro Pugh who came charging through and deflected the ball. The rush effective against Brody on that 4th down situation. And if the 49ers were hoping for a comeback against that 11-point deficit, that was a blow to their cause.
And the Dallas Doomsday defense strikes again as they flash the sign on the scoreboard here at this beautiful facility, Texas Stadium.
And so, with 6 minutes and 50 seconds left to play, timeout down on the field, it will be the Cowboys' ball, 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line.
That was a 39-yard drive, Bob, for John Brody, but of course the yardage means absolutely nothing unless in this case now it caps off with some points on the board for the 49ers. They lose the ball in possession on downs. This was their 4th drive of the second half. They have been able to get some yardage, which they lacked considerably in the first half, but certainly the 3 points from Bruce Gossett's field goal, the only scoring for the 49ers today. Again, a case of just too much Dallas defense here this afternoon. They're up against the number 2 total defense team of the conference in the Cowboys. They're facing the number 1 offensive unit of the conference, and that has told the story of a 14-3 Cowboy lead at the moment. Here comes Dallas up the line of scrimmage now. Roger Staubach will try to use up time here in this drive. Has his backs in the I formation, keeps them there, and hands off the lead man Garrison, who gets up to the 34-yard line, gaining a couple of yards before hit by Earl Edwards, the right tackle defensively for the 49ers. That'll make it a 2nd down and 8 to go for the Dallas Cowboys at their own 34-yard line.
You know, with all of the excitement attended to the game of this import, it's interesting to watch Tom Landry over there, who isn't anywhere near as hard an individual as he looks. Certainly he's not ever going to lead the league in emotion, but that's simply Tom's way. He did say, I'll tell you, wait if we do get to the Super Bowl, and if we do win it, then he said, I'll show you some emotion.
Here now are the Cowboys in a slot back left. The fake off by Staubach. He's running out of the pocket again. Escapes one man, hit by Wilcox, who got him at about the 40-yard line. Dave Wilcox, after one miss, Staubach again scrambling beautifully back there at the 40-yard line where it's 3rd down and 2 to go.
You know, that's going to be quite a show, Don, out of the Pro Bowl game when Roger Staubach is going to be in it along with Detroit's Greg Landry. And there's 2 guys that can both run.
They'll keep that American Conference defense loose, won't they?
Yes, he's picked up 56 yards today on the ground and 8 carries.
Here again come the Cowboys line of scrimmage. This time Garrison, the running back, is in a slot left. Only a remaining back in Thomas. He's got some blockers in front of him, turning the corner at the 40, and appears to have a 1st down. The marker on the 1st down across the way was Thomas's target, and he took about one big step past it. It was 1st down, Dallas. Bruce Taylor, along with Cedric Hardman, were the men who ran him out, but not in time to avert the 1st down for Dallas. So it's 1st and 10 for the Cowboys at the Dallas 44.
Difference has been, too, Don, in these 3rd down situations where the Cowboys have been able to pick 4 out of 9 of them to keep drives going, and that's so vitally important.
Substitution for the 49ers, Earl Edwards, has come to the sideline in favor of Stan Heinman now, 27-year-old former Mississippi star. That's at the right tackle spot defensively. The handoff is given to Garrison, has 2 blockers in front of him, turning the short side of the left, and goes up to almost midfield before he's tackled. Running the bench side pattern that time to the away from the field side was Garrison, who's done such a great job. In case you just joined us, you're not hearing about Calvin Hill because Cal re-injured that knee, and of course, at this point, there's no question of putting him back in with a Super Bowl 2 weeks distant. Obviously, Tom Landry has things under control and would not want to risk further injury to Calvin Hill, and Walt Garrison needs no help at the moment, believe me. Frank Nunley and Skip Vanderbilt were the men who made the stop on that play. It's now 2nd down and about 3 to go for the Cowboys. They shift with Thomas going right flank, left slot for Bob Hayes. The handoff given to Garrison again, the remaining running back. And he plunges forward for a 1st down, getting down to about the 44-yard line. And look what Roger Staubach is doing to that clock. He's inside the 5-minute mark now with a drive that is consuming time so badly needed by the 49ers.
Dallas has picked up 181 yards on the ground here so far today and 103 in the air. And conversely, the 49ers have been able to get only 69 on the ground and 129 in the air.
Bob Hayes goes wide to the left now, and Lance Allworth is out right. The running backs and the eyes shift out of it. Thomas going left and the power to that side, and the tailback is Garrison. He gets the handoff from Staubach, goes past the 40 down to the 38-yard line. Roger Staubach going for about 5 yards on the play before he was hit just past the 40-yard line on the play for the 49ers. Coming off the tackle for the 49ers with Charlie Kruger. Texas A&M skipped to the 49ers. 13-year veteran making the stop of Garrison. There was a fumble on the bottom of that pile, and Garrison was on it.
Garrison's been something else again, hasn't he, Don? He's been the star of this ball game on the ground, certainly, for the Dallas Cowboys. He's done a great job.
Oh, this is shades of last year again, along with Thomas, of course, in the previous playoff between these two teams. Here's Staubach handing off. Thomas now has Blaine Nye running in front of him, and hit down to the 38-yard line is Dwayne Thomas. The tackle made by Dave Wilcox, who will be in the Pro Bowl this year and has been there for his 5th time in 66, 8, 9, 70, and after the 71 season. Dave Wilcox, premier linebacker for the 49ers. 3rd down and 5 to go now for Dallas. 38-yard line. And of much more importance now to the Dallas cause, the fact that they are not only eating up yardage, but how they are consuming the clock. 3 minutes and 10 seconds remain. With the 49ers 11 points down and trailing 14-3.
Dan Reeves is in there.
Dan Reeves in now. He, of course, operates as an offensive backfield coach and a handyman to have around. He's slotted left now as Staubach goes back to pass. Is rushed and hit back at the 45-yard line. He had 2 men on him, Bob, and he almost got away from them.
Remarkable young man, Roger Staubach. Great star at the Naval Academy.
Earl Edwards and Cedric Hartman, though, would not let him escape that trap they set for him. And it will be a 4th down and 11, and Dallas will now have to give up the football.
That's the 2nd time that Staubach has been dropped for losses attempting to pass. Total yardage of 15 yards. Well, one of the really fine ball players performing here in the second half is Walt Garrison, and it's nothing new for him. Injured or not, he always seems to come up with that performance when you need it.
Dallas only went 23 yards on that drive, but they used up about 3.5 minutes of the clock. Ready now and back to kick is Ron Whitby, waiting for the snap. He's got it and boots it toward the end zone. He doesn't want any return. And there it is in the end zone. The 49ers will have it at their 20-yard line. Before they go into operation again, let's pop 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves, this being the CBS Radio Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
San Francisco, 80 yards away from a score, and even a touchdown would not save them now. So that's the story facing John Brody in a very dark moment for the 49ers as Dallas keys in defensively now to hold them. Here's John going back to pass, looks over the top and throws intercepted at the 20-yard line. Down to the 20, down to the 15. The middle linebacker off the play is Jordan with the ball, past the 10 and down to the 8-yard line. As Jordan goes down to the 8 after intercepting, and there the 49ers hope for a comeback. That did it right there.
Well, Leroy Jordan
John Brody attempting to get Ken Willard, and Jordan would have no part of it.
It looked like Brody threw it right at him. That's the second interception, of course. The first one resulted in a touchdown, the first touchdown for Dallas. And now this second one gives them great field position, a 1st and goal to go at the 8-yard line of the 49ers with 2 minutes and 21 seconds of playing time remaining.
The Cowboys will go back on offense now. The 8-yard line leading 14-3 with only 2 minutes and 14 seconds, Bob mentions, remaining. And Roger Staubach with things well under control. And Dallas, I think, must be looking eastward by now, don't you think, Bob?
Well, I think that as Roger Staubach said earlier, that they were talking about the game last week that they won, and frequently, of course, the players talk a great deal like and think a great deal like their coaches do. And certainly Roger sounds like Landry sometimes too, because he kept saying, well, with us now, every game amounts to the Super Bowl because what happened before isn't important, and the only game we're concerned with is the one we're playing. And he said you start thinking past that, and you know what happens, you just never get there. To make it all the way, Don, the Cowboys would have to stretch their string to 10 games. when somebody pointed out that no team in the league was ever able to come close to that many 10 games this year, Bobby Hayes, the Cowboys' great wide receiver, said, I know that, and we all know it, but it doesn't make any difference. We're not thinking about winning streaks. All we're thinking about is our next game one at a time, and this is one. So you see, Bobby Hayes is only 29, and he sounds like his coach already. No great emotion, no great exhilaration, no loud exclamation, just solid thinking.
Well, I'll tell you, it rubs off in all facets to his players from Tom Landry in that regard, Bob. The 49ers, of course, in contrast to that Dallas record, with making their 6th straight appearance in postseason playoff, the 49ers, who for the 2nd straight season, after never having won a division title, emerging again as king of the Western Division, and of course beating Dallas for the 2nd time, and evidently frustrated for the 2nd time in 2 years.
You know, it's an interesting thing about Staubach, too, Don. The Cowboys have never lost a game that he has started and finished.
They have never lost in this stadium either.
No, that's true. The last time that the Cowboys had the ball first and goal to go at the 8, they scored on 3rd down with Thomas going 2 yards. Now they have it first and goal again at the 8.
Here's Allworth out left, Bobby Hayes out right, Garrison and Thomas, the running back. Staubach puts Thomas over on the line now. Remaining back is Garrison. The pitch to him. Walt trips and goes down, hit from below at about the 8-yard line.
Good defensive play there by Johnny Fuller, who came fine in there and took the blocker with him. We're getting a clip call against the Dallas Cowboys. So there's a break for the 49ers. And that's only, I believe, Walter, the 3rd penalty of the game. 2nd against the Cowboys and 1 against the 49ers.
I don't think it's being overconfident to have had the public address announcer just say Super Bowl tickets will be going on sale for Dallas fans. We just heard that one.
Well, you know, they do things in grand fashion here in the state of Texas. So that penalty sets the ball all the way back now to the 28.
38 for Dallas, and of course this is a goal situation. Remember, they were inside the 10 when they started this series, so it is first and goal from the 28-yard line for Dallas. But it's all relative now with 1:55 left to go. There goes Thomas in a short shift left. Garrison, the remaining back, and the handoff goes to Walt, getting a block up front by Tony Liscio, and gets up to about the 24-yard line, tackled by Cedric Hardman on the play. Gain of about 4.
The game continues.
And the 49ers are stopping the clock. They're calling for a time with 1:48 left to go in the game, and the Cowboys leading it 14-3.
I'd like to remind you that following the completion of this game between Dallas and San Francisco, and it appears that Dallas will be on the way to the Super Bowl, we'll have the game of the NFC Championship bracket between the Baltimore Colts and the Miami Dolphins from the Orange Bowl. That game will be broadcast in approximately 25 minutes at 21:30 GMT. That's Miami and Baltimore from the Orange Bowl. And the announcers for the game for the NBC Radio Network will be Charlie Jones and former All-American quarterback George Ratterman. And, boy, Miami's really up for that game. There were reports that they were scalping tickets, $200, $225 for tickets in the greater Miami area. As you know, the Miami area for a 75-mile radius will be blacked out. And there was a mass exodus after the Orange Bowl game last night. People driving upstate to get out of the 75-mile radius with advanced reservations at motels up and down the coast, and even as far away as the West Coast.
Still know that Staubach has some chance to get out of there, not having found his receivers, and that's been so effective again today. Here's Staubach ready, handing off to Garrison, tries over right tackle, goes past the 20, down to the 19-yard line. That's blocking up front of the right side behind Blaine Nye and Rayfield Wright. Nye, of course, played defense for Stanford in his collegiate days. 4 years ago, he was drafted number 5 in 1968. And I don't know whether it helps him or not, but Blaine has a master's degree in physics, and evidently he's figuring out something in momentum up front there.
That timeout called by the 49ers means that they have just 1 left now, 1:41 to go. And so with a 3rd down situation and still a goal to go with the ball at the 19-yard line, the Cowboys, of course, are in a position, if they do not take it in on this play, to add 3 more points if they want to, and certainly they would.
It is 14-3. Dallas right now, 1:41 to go. And the Cowboys have it 3rd and goal to go at the 49er 19-yard line.
San Francisco is down to its lone remaining timeout. The Cowboys have a couple, but they are not intent on using them at this point. They have the lead, convincingly so. Here's the handoff to Garrison, who was stopped by Frank Nunley the last time. He gets up to about the 17-yard line, and again the 49ers call for a time, and that is the last one at their disposal.
And that will bring in Mike Clark with 1:36 to go. Garrison went into the middle of the line that time to get good position for the field goal attempt, and Mike will have a good shot at it straight away on the field goal attempt, which will be somewhere from the neighborhood of the 26 or 27-yard line.
Bob, the Dallas Cowboys, incidentally, Sam Skinner, working with us today from San Francisco, points out that they are now within the 3 points that Clark should get here with little difficulty of equaling their 17 points by which they won last year, the 17 total for Dallas.
Yeah, they're in a rut.
Well, you know, it's like, it reminds me of something yesterday at the Rose Bowl when Michigan had beaten Stanford.
You have to mention the Rose Bowl.
I'm sorry to bring that up to a man from Detroit, but I think you'll appreciate this story, the fact that Michigan beat Stanford 49-0 back in 1902, and then in their next meeting, it was in the Rose Bowl, Michigan came out and beat SC 46 years later, 49-0, and a couple of your alums were grousing as they went out of the stadium. Look at that, no improvement in 46 years.
Here's the field goal attempt.
Here now is Reeves holding for the kick of Clark from the 24. The kick on its way, and this one is wide, no good. Well, I don't know if there's any consolation in that, Sam, but the 49ers were able to avoid that 17th point. They held them a little better this year. What'll happen next year, you never know.
It was partially blocked, incidentally. So now with 1:28 to go, the 49ers, 80 yards away, will put it in play, 1st and 10 of their own 20.
So here it is with John Brody with 1:28 remaining, and 11 points down at 14-3.
And no timeouts left for the 49ers.
Frustrating afternoon for John started when he threw an intercepted pass to George Andre at the 9-yard line, and that gave Dallas the scoring break by which they've led ever since in the game. Here's John Reddy, calling his signal, has the ball, drops straight back, looking down and swings a pass, left back, blocked at the line again. Hit that time at the line by Pat Toomey from Vanderbilt, playing heavier as a pro than he did in college by some 15 pounds, and he might have used it there to brush aside a 49er protector for John and got in to get the pass and block it at the line, so it'll be 2nd down and 10 to go. 49ers, as we mentioned, have used up all their times out, and 1:24 remain. Of course, stop now the incompletion. Brody with setbacks behind him. John again drops back, looking straight over the middle, and completes it up to the 35-yard line. Caught there that time by Ted Qualick, his favorite receiver this year. Interesting fact that Bob Tucker of the Giants, who missed the first 2 games of the season, became the first tight end ever to win a pass receiving title with 59 receptions this year. And San Francisco tight end Ted Qualick, who just took that one, was 2nd with his 52. 1st and 10, 49ers at the 39 as Brody goes back to pass. Good protection, throws over the top, caught this time by Vic Washington up to midfield, past the 45, down to the 40, as the 49ers keep battling to try to get a little more respectable score before this game closes off. 45 seconds remain.
I was just going to say that clock continues to run. He looked like they've gotten out of bounds with it, but he had no chance. Of course, the 49ers are in their late drill. No huddle, they just move up as Brody calls the signals at the line of scrimmage.
Again, John dropping straight back as he throws over the middle, caught by Vic Washington again, does a sidestep to gain more room and gets to the 30-yard line and gains another 10 yards. As Dallas to set up a prevent defense now is yielding through the middle and trying to defend against anything longer. Only 19 seconds remain. Brody calling 2 plays at a time in the huddle as they've gone into their closing bit of offense.
The crowd gets a little upset now because the officials are stopping the clock momentarily.
Here again, Brody's ready. 11-point lead for the Cowboys as John drops straight back, being rushed. He's in trouble, escapes it, has time to throw down to the goal line, and it is intercepted. Intended for Washington, but a Cowboy has it down there at the 4-yard line. Cliff Harris, I believe, got it. And a bitterly disappointed John Brody with hands on hips says that's about it. That's his third interception. 1 second, of course. What must be considered more or less of a desperation pass. He had Washington down deep, double-teamed, and under any other circumstances, he might not have thrown the ball, but in this case, there was no use holding on to it back there, and the Dallas Cowboys have it for a closing 1 second play.
Just to make it official, but it will be Dallas against either Miami or Baltimore in the Super Bowl 2 weeks from today.
And it'll be the second appearance, of course, of the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. They lost it last year to Baltimore on a field goal in the closing seconds by Mr. O'Brien, who lived for a whole year on that field goal. There's the gun.
There it is. The end of the fourth quarter with the final score, Dallas 14, San Francisco 3.
Well, there's a story on one part of the entrance for the Super Bowl on January the 16th at Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. The Dallas Cowboys with a great defense today, and I'm pretty sure that even if you're a very ardent Dallas rooter, you would have to say that it was quite a pleasant surprise that they held John Brody and company to no touchdowns in this ballgame. I don't think anybody expected that. But the Dallas defense today was really the doomsday defense that everybody has come to know the past 5 or 6 years. They were superb. And we counted 4 passes that Brody threw that were batted down. Twice he was sacked in the backfield, and there were 3 interceptions. And you can't beat that kind of a performance every Sunday. The final score, Dallas scoring a touchdown in the second quarter after the recovered interception by George Andre on a flat pass from Brody. He intercepted at the 9, ran it back to the 2, and then a couple of plays later, Calvin Hill took it in. And then the field goal by Gossett from 28 yards out in the third quarter made it 7-3. And then Dallas scored the clinching touchdown, of course, as Dwayne Thomas swept the left side for 2 yards.
Well, it's on to the Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys here from Texas Stadium, where they brushed aside the attempt of the 49ers to deprive them of their second straight Super Bowl. The final score 14-3.